This content is brought to you by the Layers and Legends Kickstarter, coming in early 2022. Are you a dungeon master looking to reduce your prep time but still run awesome games for your players? Would you like professional pre-made 5th edition adventures, maps, traps, puzzles, magic items, and other resources you can drag and drop into your existing campaign? The Layers and Legends Kickstarter will create 2 gorgeous hardcover books for dungeon masters containing all of this and more. The first book, Layers and Legends, will deliver 25 5th edition compatible adventures spanning levels 1 to 15 and over 100 new terrifying monsters to pit against your players. The second book, Loot and Lore, will deliver 50 magic items, 25 puzzles, 40 traps, 10 factions, 30 standalone encounters with maps, 30 villains, 30 NPCs, 70 random tables, 30 adventure ideas, 20 spells, and 4 subclasses. And through the beauty of Kickstarter and stretch goals, we'll be able to commission beautiful artwork for both books and add even more content. Furthermore, in addition to the hardcovers, you can also get both books in PDF format and a digital map pack containing all the maps from both books. And if you'd like to pick up a hardcover copy of our last Kickstarter, Into the Fae, it will be available as an add-on to Layers and Legends. Click the link below to join the Layers and Legends email list and get notified. All right, I gotta go get my teacup and my tea, and then I'll be back. Yeah. Baby. Gaming Booger, what's up, dude? Stephen Newton, hello. I like Fig Newtons. I don't know if you're related. We might have had this conversation before. I don't know if you're related to the family that makes the Newtons, the Fig Newtons and stuff, dude. But I like them. So go tell your grandpaps. Thank you from Luke. Aaron Floyd, hello. Justin Blocker, what's up? Whoa, what the heck was that? My garbage can needs to be emptied. I just touched this morning's coffee filter. It was damp, and I was like, whoa, what? Nixit, what's up? Jeremy Ransom, hello. Jerry Ransom, hello. Josh Evans, hello. Welcome to your first stream. We are sure to disappoint you. Tachio, what's up, my man? Zack, good to see you, buddy. Alabapala, hello. What's up, Ed Robinson? All right, this tea is probably not ready yet. Sort of a DM, very nice. Robert X, hello. Mark Brown, what's up? Oh, dang, dude, you're in the UK? It's late in the UK, man. Well done. Enchanted Limestone, hello. Heather Burke, good to see you again. Stephen Newton says it's not related. Well, you know what, Stephen? Every time I see your last name, I'm going to have the same conversation with you, and we're going to talk about Fig Newtons. I'm just letting you know. Nick H, hello. Master Brewer, what's up, dude? How's the fam? The wife is super sick right now. Yes. She has like a virus or something. We went to the urgent care last night and they did tests and stuff, and it wasn't COVID and it was not a different type of flu. So they said it's a virus. Just get some sleep and rest and drink lots of fluids and stuff. I'm like, thanks. The Mixer, hello, what's up? Kira Weston, hello, good to see you. Doom Hippie, yo, Midnight in Germany? Dang. Ich möchte ein Stück Käse, bitte. That's the limit of my German. I used to speak German pretty dang well, but then I haven't spoken it since college, so you forget it all. I was okay at French, but French was really hard for me. Pronouncing French was impossible. My French teacher told me that when I spoke French, I have a Spanish accent. And I was like, okay, that's because I learned Spanish first. Sorry. Fig Newtons are great. Yes, they are great. They are absolutely. Seth Neck, hello. What's up? Thank you, Nixon. I appreciate that, dude. Distro 32. What's up, man? Amber S, hello. What's the most deadly monster you used against your party? Tiamat. There you go. Vasi Germans are here. What? How's today in the Kickstarter, Luke? Today was a really busy day. I'm getting my butt kicked all over the place, like face kicked in. Yeah. Shy Horizon, hello. Good to see you. Shy is okay. So Shy right now is working on revamping all of our Into the Fae maps. So you know our last Kickstarter, Into the Fae, we did maps and they are beautiful, but they don't work super well when you try to put them on virtual tabletops. So Shy right now is working on every single map, getting them ready so that they can be more easily used on virtual tabletops. They are in full color. They are beautiful, hand-drawn, amazing maps. And so they're working on that currently. And we've got a few done. I'm going to roll them out all at once. I'm not going to do it piecemeal. That's too much work. But when they're done, everyone who has Into the Fae, either through Kickstarter, I'll go into the Kickstarter project and roll out the maps to everybody, you know, that has the maps already. So you'll get them for free. And then also, if you bought Into the Fae on the DM Lair store, you will get an update pushed out to you as well. So we're working on getting better maps for the Into the Fae, for the virtual tabletop folks, because the current ones are awesome, but they just don't work very well on virtual tabletops. So yeah. Oh, what flavor is the tea? It's green tea with lemon. So yeah, let's talk about getting my butt kicked. I have my day job I go to, and then I have to we have the YouTube channel, we have Lair magazine, we have all that stuff that we're doing, and then we have a Kickstarter. I took a whole week off last week to just launch the Kickstarter, and it was so good to not have to go to my day job. And then this week I had to go back to my day job, and it is kicking my face in having to do all of this stuff. And you guys want to see something interesting? I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you something. I have something to share with you. I hope nobody from my day job is here, otherwise I'm in trouble. But I don't really care at this point. I just don't care. My wife is probably gonna message me and be like, Luke, don't do that. Luke, stop, Luke, stop. Okay. I'm gonna show you right now. I guarantee you my wife is gonna yell at me right now. Well, she's gonna yell at me later. Hold on. Okay. I have an app installed on my phone. This is the time. This is the clock, the tick down clock. Okay. This is the click down clock. And then, but this is just the 2 weeks notice. Okay. Because then you have to track when the last day is gonna be. So I have, whoops, how's that work? There we go. This is gonna be the 2 weeks notice time. And then this is gonna be my actual last day. It's gonna be beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to it. And then the tea. Woo! My wife is totally gonna yell at me. My wife always watches the streams. Yeah, I just don't care anymore. All right. Because I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. Expect an incoming call from Luke's mom? Oh, yeah, totally. Totally. Yes, Thomas, that is the plan. Full time to do D&D stuff. Yes, that is the plan. It has been my dream and my goal. You know, I don't even like saying dream, because dreams imply something you set before you, but you don't actually take actions to accomplish. You just dream about it, but you never actually do anything to get there. So I would say it is a goal. It is an objective that I have been working toward for probably 2 years now. And I literally could do it right now. But my plan is to wait until the Kickstarter has ended and is all over and done. And then I will pull that trigger. That is my plan right now. And so that's why those dates I had in my phone are very precisely chosen. So, all right. Anyway, I'm gonna take a sip and we're gonna kick this bad boy off. I got a cat that's going crazy down here now. Mommy cat. All right. Let's see. Let's do this. Where's my stuff? All right, here we go. All right. Hello. Okay, cool. So we got some fun stuff to talk about tonight. We are going to be talking about Wizards of the Coast's purchase of D&D Beyond. And then we're going to talk about what that might mean. And we're going to do some wild speculation because they didn't really tell us much, because they never do. Whatever, it's cool. We'll just talk about stuff and it'll be fun. So while this is a Q&A live stream, of course, so feel free to throw your questions in the chat. My lovely moderators will be throwing them into the spreadsheet, and then we'll be going through and answering questions. We have like 3 hours. We'll do the best we can. We do have to get through some shameless plugs and stuff before we get into all of that. This cat just, you can see her on the camera. She just needs attention. We do have our Kickstarter running right now, Layers and Legends. You can get 2 massive, I keep saying massive hardcover books, and I'm not crapping you. There is tons of content in these 2 books. Like, for comparison, there is an official book coming out. I forget the name of it. Goliath maybe, or Ed, you could throw the name of their official book that's coming out. And it has like 11 adventures in it and 13 new monsters, or it's 13 adventures and 11 new monsters. One of our books will have 25 adventures in it and over 100 new monsters in it. And then the other book is going to have puzzles, traps, magic items, encounters, NPCs, villains, adventure ideas, and spells and subclasses in it. So when I say massive, these are going to be like 300 plus pages each. It's going to be packed full of content. So that's our Layers of Legends Kickstarter. It's going on right now. We're about a week and a half into it, roughly. Yeah. So we've smashed a whole bunch of stretch goals. We just unlocked our premium paper stretch goal, which is going to give us thicker paper. One of the pieces of feedback we got from Into the Fae was that the paper was kind of thin. And so, okay, cool. We're going to upgrade to thicker paper. And we finally got that stretch goal. I'm very happy about that one. I like to put out high quality products. And so when I get feedback that indicates that a product is not as high a quality as we could have made it, I make it my objective to fix that. Even if the feedback was minor and only a few people mentioned it, it's just kind of this thing where it's like, no, I want to create good quality crap. And so that is one of the things I really wanted to do for Layers and Legends, and we hit that stretch goal, and now we're able to do that. So that makes me very happy. And we have other stretch goals, more content, more artwork, and all that kind of stuff. So there's links around here that you can go check out, Layers and Legends and stuff, if you'd like to pledge and get a couple awesome books full of content for your game tables. Giveaway, we're doing a giveaway tonight. There's a link in the chat somewhere where you can get in. It's a D&D book of your, if you win, you have to win. It's a D&D book of your choice, or store credit on the DM Lair store where you can get lots of cool stuff. So it's free. Throw your name in there. You don't have to be here. Well, we will pick the winner of the giveaway at the end of the live stream. You don't have to be here to win, so you can go in there and enter your stuff, and I'll email you if you win. This cat is like, she's just gonna take over the live stream. She just needs attention down here. Jeez. Do you plan sponsoring other D&D channels for Layers and Legends? Oh, I don't know. My buddy Dungeon Coach told me he'd do me a solid. So And I'm talking to Bob Worldbuilder right now. I got to send him some information. So yeah, we got to get the word out. We got to tell people about it. That's the biggest thing, letting people know about the project and stuff like that. So if you are a backer, one of the best things that you can do is tell people about it, tell your friends, social media, tweet, and do all that kind of stuff to let people know. So yeah. All right. What else do I got to talk about? What other plugs? We talked about that. We talked about the giveaway. And then you see, here's half of my brain is focusing on the cat and making sure that she is happy. And then the other half is trying to run the stream. And so I'm a little distracted. Oh, charity. Yes, we have a new charity. That's right. So our last charity was Bikers Against Child Abuse. And we raised almost $600 for them in our live streams. And I made that donation Monday, I think. I posted it in my Discord. And now we have a new charity. So let's go over and I will share our new charity. All tips go toward the charity. Let's go over here. All right, so our new charity is One More Child. Basically, I mean, they bringing hope to struggling children and vulnerable children and struggling families. Basically what they do is they help foster families. They help trafficking victims. This is like human trafficking, very horrible, nasty business. They help hungry children. They help single moms, and they help struggling families. So they are doing lots of amazing stuff. I heard about them. I was watching a YouTube video where it was down in Florida. There was a sheriff who was talking about, I forget what county it was from, but there was a sheriff who was giving a press debriefing, and he was talking about a recent sting or operation they did where they broke up a bunch of, it wasn't human trafficking, but it was basically people trying, like adults trying to like do horrible things with like children basically. And so they broke that up and arrested a whole bunch of people. And then some of the people that were involved in it, this organization right here, One More Child, was there like very, very quickly to help people that were being affected by it. And so I heard about them through that, and I was like, this sounds like a charity that's doing some amazing stuff. And so our goal is to raise $500 for them, and all tips will go directly to them. So if you would like to get in on that, you are welcome to do so, and we will be deeply appreciative of that. I'm a cat. We got Squeaky down here. He's like, where's my attention? All right. Now, I think we just have one more thing to do, and that is to thank all of our awesome patrons and YouTube channel members. And then we are going to get into the questions. I know I have a whole like prelude thing I have to do here. All right, so these folks get their names on the stream here because they are my patrons and YouTube members, and they help make everything we do possible. All of the free videos, all of these free live streams. I have resources over on the dmlair.com, 100% free Dungeon Master resources, adventures, traps, puzzles, monsters, you name it. We literally pay people to make resources to put out on our website for free to help Dungeon Masters. To, you know, the whole thing, you know, reduce your prep time, run awesome games, all that kind of thing. But these patrons help with that. They help make that possible. And obviously we have premium resources that we publish, like Lair Magazine. My patrons get Lair Magazine each month as well. They basically help us pay the bills. They help us do what we do. And I'm deeply, deeply appreciative of them, especially because it is in large part thanks to them that I'm going to be able to go full time. And I'm so very, very appreciative of that. Now, these folks right here, they have bribed me with a higher. These patrons here pay even more money to support the content that we create. And so they get their names read out loud. I have this cat is going nuts. I should make the cat read the names so I can, yeah. Anyway, 5e Magic Shop, Aerospatial, Alex T, Amanda W, Ambers, Amy P, Andrew M, Andre U, Andy S, Andy W, Anthony E, Antoine B, Arutha, Baldwin, Barda Bear, Benjamin B, Burncastle, Brandon A, Byron M, Celestina K, Chase O, Chris C, Chris E, Christopher S, Cody B, Colton T, Contrary Gravy, Corey S, Draxus, Dresna, Dutch, Ed R, Edward L, Ericos, Flame Black 200, Goliath Cleric, Gravy Chorn, Ian F, It's Beoban, Izzy T, Jackie Pizza, Jake L, Jacob K, James L, Jan F, Jeremy W, Jerry W, Jessica J, Jim P, JM, Joe D, John A, John K, Joseph H, Josh S, Kale S, KK, Keith L, Kevin F, Kezides, Kirby, Kyle G, Kyle M, Labraworks, Leonhardt, Marty M, Marwin R, Matt B, Matthew J, Mirostal, Mr. Linkanu, Mr. T, Oldtimer, Owen D, Penguin Butt, Pierre P, Published Author, Rachel S, Radiance Guardians, Ramus, Razlik, Race W, Rainer C, Robert C, Ron R, Ronald, Ryan H, SG Sounders, Sakura, Scott V, Sir John, Shane L, Sheila A, Snowy Tiggy, Son of a Sofa Man, Soul Naya, Stephen T, Stephen A, Tactical Tokens, The Three Quarters Hospital, The Old DM, The Pickle, The New Bad Ombre, Thomas F, Thomas T, Tiger 500, Tim Black, Tom C, Traveling Cash, Travels the Lost, Tristan W, Tyler R, Vincent G, Vladimir S, Will M, XX, Red Drum. Woo! I did pretty well. I think I did really well tonight reading those names. Usually I really mess them up really badly. I think that was a pretty good job, if I don't say so myself. All right, let's do this. Let's get some. We are going to talk about Wizards of the Coast, buying D&D Beyond. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I'm just going to read some questions first to get ourselves warmed up before we jump into the meat. Have you ever considered trying out old school essentials? Don't know what that is. Sorry. How do you feel about starting your new players off with a dream sequence where they test their skills without the fear of dying and losing your new character? I would only do that if they were brand new characters, like never played D&D before. But yeah, like you get a dream sequence. Hey. Cats are, I don't know what was going on. Squeaky was doing something to Mommy. Mommy didn't like it. And then Mommy was like, nah, 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 nah. I don't know if you could see that on the cat cam. I don't know, but they were getting into it. And then Mommy was digging her claws into my ankle. So I have a couple cat marks on my ankle now. That's great. You could do it if you want. I mean, you're the dungeon master, I suppose, but it's like, if they're first level or second level or something, I'm just going to have kids gloves on them anyway, you know, and I'm not going to, you know, put super challenges at them. But that begs the question then, okay, so what if you do that the first time they're level 1 and then they end up dying at level, something happens and then they bring in a new character and they die and I don't know, man. It could get sloppy if you have to do a dream sequence every single time to test their skills. But you could also, I mean, it's essentially, you could just do the same thing and just say, okay, guys, we're going to do a practice game session. Like literally it's a practice game session. So you guys can just learn how your characters work and how the combat works and stuff. If you want to put it under like, you know, the story-driven mechanism of a dream sequence, you could do that. It's fair. I've never really had a problem with people dying at level 1, you know, but you could do that if you want. Absolutely. I don't see a problem with it. How would you go about a campaign where the players go about building their own rebellion to overthrow a tyrannical government? I mean, I don't know how I would go about that. That sounds like a campaign where the players are calling the shots on some things. The players are making decisions about how they're going to build their rebellion. And then you're going to have to basically, you're going to have to key off from what they want to do. For instance, if there is some people in the forest or something that were exiled from this tyrannical government some time ago, and the players tell you, hey, we'd like to go meet up with those people and try to convince them to join us in a rebellion against them and start making allies. Well, then as a dungeon master, you're going to have to be like, okay, cool. What do I do with that? Because I want to turn that into an adventure. I don't want, what's not going to happen, I'm just, in my games, what's not going to happen is the characters go over to those people in the forest and there's like 5 minutes of talking And then the people in the forest are like, okay, we'll join you. That's not interesting. Maybe some people think that's interesting. That's not interesting to me. Or 5 minutes of talking and the people in the forest are like, nah, we're not going to join you. Like that's not Dungeons and Dragons to me. That's not interesting. I want there to be an adventure there. So my brain goes this way. All right, cool. You want to make an alliance with the people of the forest. Great. You go to the people of the forest. You talk to the people of the forest. The people of the forest tell you, we're interested, but we don't know if we can trust you. But you know what? There's this thing maybe you could help us with. And this is just a ploy, obviously, for you to introduce an adventure, introduce something the players can go off and do and play what many consider to be D&D, going on adventures, encountering monsters, doing stuff, you know what I mean? And then if they complete that adventure, they come back to the people in the forest and they say, hey, we did that thing, and then let's say there was a MacGuffin they had to get, and here's the thing you wanted, and blah, blah, blah. People of the forest are like, awesome, you're good people, we appreciate that, we're in. And there you go, they've made an alliance with those people, and then they gotta go try to make other alliances. Now, they're not always gonna have the exact same reaction. You're not always just gonna throw them on an adventure or a mission or something like that. You wanna be a little creative with it, but it feels like in a campaign like that, you're going to be keying off from what the players say they want to do. Yeah, so I think there will be planning involved, but less planning and more asking players what their plans are, and then you will develop adventures around what they say they're going to do in order to overthrow that tyrannical government. I see super chats, so I should probably talk about that stuff. Okay. Amara Jensen, thank you for the $5 super chat. They say, pet kitty time, please. Yes, I was petting the kitty. The kitty got her pet time. Jason Coleman, thank you for the $19.99 super chat. I do appreciate that. I don't see a question or anything tied to it, so I'm just gonna assume you're paying for kitty treats, and I do appreciate that. My cats appreciate that. Lord God, thank you for the $10 tip. Really appreciate that. That goes to One More Child, helping children, trafficking victims, families, foster families, and stuff. Really appreciate that. Skunk the Half Orc, thank you also for the $10 tip. Very much appreciate that. All right, and then Crippy Monty Poppycock, thank you for the 1160 super chat. I do appreciate that. And they say, sounds like a great charity. My parents were foster parents of a girl I now consider my sister, and my mom works with victims of trafficking. It's close to home. Awesome. Well, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. All right. Elden Ring styled D&D. Opinions or suggestions? I don't know what Elden Ring is. Sorry. You're looking at a person who works from the moment they get up at 4 a.m. and usually works until 6 p.m. And if I'm lucky, when at 6 p.m. I can take a couple hours maybe before I go to bed and then get up the next morning and do it. And so if Elden Ring is a game, I have not played it. I don't know what it is. If it is a movie, I have not seen it. So if you talk about pop culture or leisure activities, I'm probably going to claim ignorance on almost everything. What is your opinion on Eberron? Any suggestions to make it better? I love Eberron. I absolutely love it. I think it's a spectacular setting, and I think that the 5th edition Eberron book that they published is probably one of the very best 5th edition official books you can get. Official books. There's lots of third-party content that I love for 5th edition, but if you're talking official books, Eberron, the Eberron book was masterfully done. That is the way a campaign setting should be written. So I love Eberron. I have no suggestions to make it better except to play it at your game table. Lord God says, did the Flea Mortals Kickstarter cause issues? I mean, I don't care. Oh, what? Because they launched when we were mid Kickstarter and it could cause people competition and stuff? I don't know. I have no idea. You know, you can't plan for those things. You can't anticipate them. And then when it happens, it's like, what are you going to do? It's like, oh no, somebody else is launching a big Kickstarter at the same time that we are. Oh, I guess we should just cancel ours and try again later. Yeah, you can't do anything about that. You just keep on going. You know, I don't think it's a zero-sum game, though. In other words, I don't think that there's only a certain amount of pie to be taken. And if somebody takes like most of the pie, there's nothing left. You know, I really think that there's plenty of room for everybody to thrive. And so if somebody else is doing awesome at something and I wish them the best, that's great. And there's still probably room for us to do very well as well. And we're already doing super well. And we've already, in the first 2 days, we beat our first Kickstarter into the Fae. And now the project, I mean, it's leveling off a little bit. We're in that like mid area of a Kickstarter campaign where everything just kind of like, that's just how Kickstarter campaigns go. And then it'll slowly grow and then it'll at the end. That's just the way it works, you know, and we're in that middle zone right now. So did something else affect it? I don't know. You know, you think about those things and you're just gonna, what are you gonna do? Hit your head against a wall until you knock yourself out? Like, you can't do anything about that. You just gotta roll with it, and you have to be happy and you have to be grateful and thankful for what is going well and what you have accomplished. You know, that's all you can do. Otherwise, you're just gonna, you know, be miserable when you think about that stuff. You just can't, you know. I did that one. I got that one. For homebrewing campaigns, is there a way to make the campaign based around tiers of play? Considering that most campaigns split before the end, I'm iffy about making a 1 to X high level. It sounds like what you're asking is you want to prepare a campaign up front so that for the first tier of play, levels 1 to 4, there is an entire like story arc that will be completed. And then for the next tier of play, 5 to 10, I believe it is, there's another story arc that will be completed. And then the next tier of play and the next tier of play. And yes, the way to do that is literally to have a story arc in the first tier of play. You have a big bad who the characters will encounter at level 4. And that will be the big bad of that story arc. And then the next story arc that they start on for your campaign goes from level 5 to 10. And there's a big bad that they will encounter around level 10. And the first story arc from level 1 to 4 is unrelated, if you'd like, from the second story arc from level 5 to 10. And you basically make smaller campaigns that take place over shorter time periods so that they get the satisfaction of finishing one of the little mini campaigns, story arcs, at the early levels. And then if they get to level 10, they can finish that one off. And then if they keep on going, they can start another one. And yes, you're right. Eventually the group is going to break up and disband. You never know when it's going to happen, but it almost always happens. So yes, you could do that if you just design it that way. Anthony says, how do you adjust sessions for players not being able to make it? Do you just adjust all of the encounters, or do you have someone run the other player's characters? I have 2 methods I do it. 1, another player runs the character of the player who can't make the game session, and that is my preferred method. 2, if the group is not comfortable with a player playing another player's character, that character just won't be there. They disappear from the tentacles, grab them. Literally, that is our hand wave. Tentacles grab them and drag them into the darkness. And then there's only 4 characters playing the game instead of 5. And how do I adjust the encounters? I don't. I do not adjust the encounters. Players get to deal with it. That is life. And does it make it harder? Yeah. Has it led to horrible, drastic TPK situations? No. Because my players are not morons. They understand they're down a man, and they understand things are going to be a little bit tougher, and so they're a little bit smarter about gameplay, potentially. And they perhaps beg the person who might not make it to come anyway. That's how I deal with it. I don't adjust things. If a character's not going to be there, I don't adjust things. I just don't. I'm not gonna mess with that. You're like, Luke, you're punishing the players that are there for the one player that's not there. I know. I'm a horrible person. They're always fine. Do you think players with their own cliques in the group is a major problem? How would you solve it? I've never experienced that first. Second, you're always going to have people that are like drawn to each other more than to others. You know, there are always going to be people that are closer, have stronger friendships than others. And what are you going to do? You're going to say, now listen here, Susie and Billy, you know, Johnny's feeling left out because you have a clique. You really should help incorporate him more into your little friend group so that everybody feels equal. No, we're not in kindergarten. Okay. Like, we're adults, we're grown-ups playing the game. And so yes, some players are going to get along better than others, and other players aren't going to get along as well with others. That's life. That's the way it works. So we accept that. We're not going to, like, you know, get out our teacher hat. Do teachers have hats? Actually, they probably don't. We're not going to put on our teacher shoes. I don't know. Just figure it out. And, like, force people to be better friends and stuff. It's just silly. The thing is, though, that if the clique is actually causing a problem, like if they're essentially ostracizing another player and they're being mean to the other player or not accepting and they're not being inclusive and stuff, and they don't really have a good reason to do that, right? That is a problem that should be addressed. Now, I have had players who have had poor behavior at the game table, and they themselves are responsible for their own ostracization. Ostracism. They themselves are responsible for their own exile from the other players' friendship groups. So if you got a player who's cheating, who's power gaming, who's just being kind of a jerk, he's in the middle of a fight, he's sneaking off and opening doors and waking up more enemies that join the fight. When you have a player that is doing those sorts of things, they are bringing their own consequences down upon their heads. So there is a difference between players without real reason or justification not liking someone and, like, you know, pushing them away. And then there's the player who is doing things that are the things that's causing people to reject that person. Now, and that's on them. But in the other case, you know, probably something should be said. Hey, you know what? What's going on here? It seems like you guys don't like Johnny. Like, you know, what's going on? Well, it's because he doesn't take a bath. Oh, we should probably talk about that. Or, you don't like Johnny, why not? And we talk about it, you know, you might talk about it and stuff. It just really depends. But I've never been in a game where cliques were ruining the game. I have been in games with players who were just doing really not stupid stuff. They were being sleazewads at the game table, and they brought about their own downfall. And that's on them. That's on them. And rightfully so. You don't be a sleazewad at the game table. What do you think about a campaign or play group that leveled quickly, then started a new one? Like every other session, level ups, pros and cons. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to deep dive into it a whole lot. If you want to run it that way, that's fine. One of the things players do enjoy about the game is leveling up and gaining new powers. So if you want to level fastly because your players like doing that, then I don't see a problem with it. You know, as the dungeon master, you're just gonna make your adventures higher level and stuff to go along. It's not that big of a deal. You know, one might argue that that's not a bad idea because most groups fizzle out after a certain amount of time. And so if you do like speed leveling, like let's just pretend every game session you gain a level and you're doing short little adventures and the adventures get harder a lot faster, you might say that, hey, that allows you to experience more of the game, experience more of the character levels, experience more of the monsters because you level up faster. So you could easily make the argument that that's not bad at all, but is in fact a benefit. Now, I don't feel the need to do that because my groups don't fizzle out. They tend to stick together for a fairly long period of time, for the most part. But if you have had a track history of groups fizzling out quickly and you want to go a level up faster so they can experience more of the levels and then you can throw in bigger, badder monsters and stuff, hey, rock on. What is your favorite class and race? Class, rogue. Race, half-orc. Not half-orc, half-elf. I don't have any DM problems tonight, but I still wanted to get a question. Well, thank you, Master Brewer. I appreciate that. And those are serious answers. I love rogues and I love half-orc. Keep saying half-orcs, not half-orcs. Half-elves. Half-elves. How was your day today? Oh, it was very busy. I spent all morning. I got up at 4. And then from 4 until 3 o'clock, I was filming my May videos. So set all the equipment up, film all the videos, take all the equipment down, send stuff off to my editor, all that kind of stuff. So what is that? What is 4 to 3? That's 11 hours. So I spent the first 11 hours of my day filming all of my May videos. And that's just filming. That doesn't include the scripting and everything else. It's just the filming. So that was a very full day. I was very, very tired. And then I had to go run a little errand for my wife. And then I got some pizza and I got about a half an hour to watch Netflix. I'm watching The Walking Dead. It's like my little thing. I just turn it on and watch it when I'm eating my food usually. And I can unwind and relax for like a few minutes. And then I get ready for the live stream. And then we're having a live stream. So that's my day. Today's a nonstop day. I did not have to go to my day job today. We got today off because of the Easter holiday. So thankfully I didn't have to do that. Otherwise I would have been like, I wouldn't have been filming videos today if I had to go to my day job. I would have had to film videos on like Sunday or something. Which, yes, is Easter, but whatever. This is the life. There is no, I don't get weekends. I don't get weekends. Every single day is up early and work most of the day. That is my life right now, which is why I can't wait until the day job goes bye-bye. It'll make it better, but I'll just find more work to do. Heather says, with you quitting your day job and going D&D full-time, will you be running more one-shots? No. Or other full-length campaigns? No. During the months? No. No. My goal is to get my life back to a semblance of normality and balance. Like I just said, I run nonstop and I'm working nonstop. So I have 2 goals with quitting the day job. 1, actually be able to have time off. A day off a week would be great. I would love to have a day off where I don't have to think about my YouTube, my business, anything at all. That would be wonderful. I would love to be able to stop working every night around 6 p.m. maybe and get a couple hours to do something I like. So I would like to be able to do that, first of all. Second of all, there are a lot of opportunities I see to expand the business and do better at the business that I am not currently able to capitalize upon because I do not have the time to do it. Now, I do pay a lot of people to do many of the things for the business. I don't do as much as I can. As the things that I don't need to do myself, I pay other people to do for the most part. And so I do that, but I still have to have like the mental capacity and time space to be able to think about like, R&D, research and development, or to think about new opportunities and how we might capitalize on them, how we might implement them and stuff. I have to be able to think about those things. And when you are only implementing, when you are only running the business and keeping the lights on, and all you're doing is trying to keep the lights on, and keep your current activities going and running flawlessly and smoothly, it takes, and your time is filled up with that, you don't have a lot of time to think about new opportunities and different ways you can expand and grow and stuff. And that's a danger. That's a huge danger, because if you are not constantly looking for ways to improve and new things that you can do, you will, and if you only ever think about your current stuff that you're doing, then that is not always going to be good. Like, you can't just stick there and only stick with that. That's how companies die and just like fold and go under. You know, if you look at a lot of the companies, like Kodak did this, you know, Kodak passed on digital photography and they're like, film is the way to go. And then then it was too late to change when they saw that that was not the way to go. And then they're done. You know, if you look at a lot of these physical video places, you know, like, I don't even know if Blockbuster is still in business, but you have a lot of these like physical, you got to go to the store to get the video and stuff. And, you know, they went bye-bye, many of them. And now you have like Netflix is the big thing and online streaming and stuff, you know. And so you have to be thinking about innovating and changing and doing better stuff, you know. And so I need to do more of that. I need to think about that stuff. And there's some other stuff too that I have not been able to do that I need to do. And so the goal is not to start doing more D&D games or more one-shots. The goal is to try to build and grow the business in different ways. Think ways that I need to capitalize on that I have not been able to because of a time restraint. And if I fill that up with running more D&D games, then I'm not able to do those things. So no, that's not going to happen. All right. I got that one. Will Lord Soth come back and kill everyone? Yes. Yeah, yes. I was curious about the Into the Fae book. Will the add-on get a premium paper update as well? No. We would have to do some reconfiguring of different things. There are two things. First of all, it increases cost a lot. Second of all, you have to, the cover design and everything is specifically made for the thickness of the paper inside of a book. Like, literally, there is like a PDF design and stuff for cover layout and design that you send to the printer that is specifically calibrated to how many pages and the thickness of the pages in your book. And so we would have to redo a whole bunch of that stuff and whatnot. So no, we're not planning on doing that. I was actually thinking about that earlier today. I was like, you know what, that'd be cool. But then I was like, no, yeah, we're not gonna be able to do that. It's just not gonna work. We can't, if we try to do too many things, the things that we are doing will, the quality of them will be decreased. So we have to be careful to not spread ourselves too thin and trying to do too many things. We have to focus on the things that are going to be delivering the most value to the most people and stuff like that. And that's going to be the new books that are coming out. You know, now going forward, I would love for all the books to have the thicker paper in it. And hopefully they all will. But Into the Fae, that is off the table right now. It's interesting. Like, I just give honest answers. People are like, Luke, are you going to run more games through time? Nope, not going to do that. Luke, are you going to put the thicker paper Into the Fae? Nope, not going to do that. But I could lie to you. I could do what is it? This happens in my day job a lot. This happens in I was actually thinking about this in my day job. Like, they'll like say they're thinking about something or that they'll consider doing something, blah, 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 whatever. And then they don't. And you know they weren't going to, but they just like lie to your face and tell you something, even though you know that they're full of crap. So anyway, I don't like doing that. I'll just tell you the truth. What DM's Guild supplements alongside your Kickstarter would you recommend? I mean, I don't go on DM's Guild, so I don't really know what's out there. Tasha's Crucible of Everything Else? I don't even know what that is. Sorry. Again, I live in a hole. I work all day. I don't know about a lot of stuff. What do you think the chances of PDFs being included with the physical books now? I'm not seeing it. They'd have to begin selling books to protect PDF codes, sealing books to protect PDF codes. We're going to talk about that when we get into our D&D Beyond conversation, which we're going to do in just a little bit after a break. We'll get into the whole Wizards of the Coast buying D&D Beyond. We'll definitely talk about that, and I'll give you my opinions on that. We're getting there. What is your go-to music when it comes to battles, travel, and downtime in your games? Looking to grow my playlist. So usually what I do is this, dude. I'm going to show you. Tabletop audio. It's super easy. You can search, you can filter, you can find what you want. And yeah, that's what I use. I have this open on my iPad, my laptop, or whatever, and I just play stuff from them. So that's pretty much what I do. I do love the Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer soundtracks from like the 80s. Those two soundtracks are amazing. World of Warcraft soundtracks are also amazing. Whether you like the game or not, it doesn't matter. The soundtracks are absolutely incredible. But obviously you got to own those and buy them. Whereas tabletop audio, you just go to their website, you pull it up, and you play their stuff. So this is what I use. I'm a patron of them too. I don't give them. I give them like $10 a month or something like that. I forget exactly, but anyway, they're what I use. The Lost Adventurer, thank you for the $5 tip. I appreciate that. That goes directly to One More Child. One More Child is the charity that we are currently raising money for. They help foster families, trafficking victims, hungry children, single moms, and struggling families. Every single tip, 100% of it goes to One More Child, and we're trying to raise $500 for them. So if you'd like to contribute, we do appreciate it. Is my music still playing? Why does my music always stop? Like seriously, this is dumb. Let me see if I can I'm trying to use this Spotify playlist and it always stops playing. So I want to go back to my own playlist. I want to make sure this is working though. There we go. Okay, my own playlist is working now. Goodbye, Spotify, you piece of garbage. I don't like Spotify. Amira Jensen, thank you for the $5. I appreciate that. Heading out for my game night. Have a great stream and refill your tea. I know it's getting empty. You have yourself a great game. If you're the DM, then, kill them all. Don't kill them, but, you know. What's this? Another. Where is that tip? Oh, there. Lord God, thank you for the $7 tip. I appreciate that. With the business, do you see potential for other hosts on the channel or growth unrelated to YouTube? It's unrelated to YouTube. Most of the potential I see for growth are, well, I have had a couple ideas for YouTube channels. There's different things. But that takes years to grow. It can take years to grow a YouTube channel. But I've had other ideas as well. Other hosts on the channel? No, not really. It's always gonna be my face on the channel. Squeaky. Okay, Kickstarter question. Jay from the con asking, hey Jay, what's up, dude? I remember you. It was good to see you there, dude. And now you're in my stream. I'm new to Kickstarters, so I bought in on the first day. When add-ons are made by reaching goals, when do I have a chance to add or buy these? Okay, so Jay, what you're gonna wanna do is essentially you'll edit your pledge. Go back to the Kickstarter, and then on there somewhere, there should be a button to edit your pledge. And when you edit your pledge, the very first screen is gonna have a list of all the different pledge tiers, brass dragon, gold dragon, etc. You're gonna wanna select your same tier if you wanna keep your same tier, and then click the next button. That'll take you to another screen. On that screen, there's going to be a list of all of the add-ons, and that's where you can pick all the different add-ons you want. And then you just progress on from there. It'll add those add-ons onto your order, and then you'll be good to go. So you have to edit your pledge basically to get the add-ons after the fact. My cat is nibbling at me. Okay, so I just scared my dog with the clap. Ladies and gentlemen, that was obviously regarding our Kickstarter that we have going on right now, Into the Fae. Basically, you can get 2 hardcover books full of Dungeon Master resources, 5th edition adventures, monsters, magic items, traps, puzzles, a whole bunch of different things. Very, very cool stuff. The Kickstarter is live right now. There's a link down below where you can get in on the action. We have been unlocking tons of different stretch goals. We got the premium paper update. We're adding new content. We have custom artwork we're commissioning, and I've been sharing a lot of the custom artwork and the updates on the Kickstarter page itself. So we have amazing artists working, and there's just some really cool art coming out of it. So if you want to get some resources and stuff, go over and check that out. There are lots of add-ons too. We are doing an alt cover as well. I have no idea what it's going to look like because we weren't planning on doing it, but people wanted one, so we're like, okay, we'll do one. So you can get alt covers. The alt covers will only be available during the Kickstarter. We will not do another print run of the alt covers. So if you want them, then you should do that now because we're not doing them again. Now, like, we're offering Into the Fae as a hardcover right now as an add-on to this Kickstarter. But when we do another Kickstarter in the future, we'll never offer the alt covers again. Just letting you know. So if you want those. And we also, we just did a thing too, where everybody at the Brass Dragon is going to get 14 adventures from my back catalog just thrown in for free. They'll be PDFs because printing books is super expensive. But you're gonna get a whole bunch of free adventures and stuff too. So we're really just trying to put as much value into this project and give as much value to our backers as possible. Now it's 2 books, and so the 2 big, huge, massive books with tons of content in it, and then we're throwing in lots of other stuff. So if you want to get Layers and Legends and Loot and Lore, that's the name of the other book, there's a link down below. You can check that out. And then I'm gonna show you a little video that tells you more about it while I get ready to do a cat strike with my cats. Where is this thing? This content is brought to you by the Layers and Legends Kickstarter, coming in early 2022. Are you a dungeon master looking to reduce your prep time but still run awesome games for your players? Would you like professional pre-made 5th edition adventures, maps, traps, puzzles, magic items, and other resources you can drag and drop into your existing campaign? The Layers and Legends Kickstarter will create 2 gorgeous hardcover books for dungeon masters containing all of this and more. The first book, Layers and Legends, will deliver 25 5th edition compatible adventures spanning levels 1 to 15 and over 100 new terrifying monsters to pit against your players. The second book, Loot and Lore, will deliver 50 magic items, 25 puzzles, 40 traps, 10 factions, 30 standalone encounters with maps, 30 villains, 30 NPCs, 70 random tables, 30 adventure ideas, 20 spells, and 4 subclasses. And through the beauty of Kickstarter and stretch goals, we'll be able to commission beautiful artwork for both books and add even more content. Furthermore, in addition to the hardcovers, you can also get both books in PDF format and a digital map pack containing all the maps from both books. And if you'd like to pick up a hardcover copy of our last Kickstarter, Into the Fae, it will be available as an add-on to Layers and Legends. Click the link below to join the Layers and Legends email list. Okay, here we go. The cats are swarming. We're gonna give them some treats. I gave my dog some treats already, so hopefully she won't take the cat's food. Yes, I know. No, go to your bed. No, the kitty's food. So the dog ran all the cats off. I literally gave her some treats in her own area, hoping that she would not take the cats, but it didn't work. I'm gonna have to sit down here and like supervise the cat strikes from now on. The little guy is gonna eat them all. He's like, where'd all the other cats go? Yeah, dogs will eat anything, like literally. They don't need to have calories. We have these oral vet chews that our dog needs to eat to help with her teeth. And she has not been eating her current chew, and she needs to eat it. She's eating everything else, but she won't eat her chew. This is not coffee, this is tea. Yes, your boy is totally taking advantage, Ed. He's gonna eat them all. And he's scrawny, so he needs to. Did the dog ate half of the treats? I believe it. Jeez, man. Put peanut butter on it. She'll eat it. Really? Oh, a little bit of peanut butter on it? Oh, I'll try that. He's gonna go in the box. He's like, there's some treats in here. All right. Yeah, he's going in. He's going for it. He's going for it. Here we go. All right, let's get into this. I will try that. I'll try putting just a little bit of peanut butter on it to see if that gets her to eat it. She needs to eat those chews to help break up the plaque and crap on her teeth. Like, we took her to, we adopted her like 3-4 months ago, something like that. And when we took her to the vet was like, yeah, her teeth are like really, she needs the cleaning. And we're like, okay, how much does the cleaning cost? And they're like $1,000. Okay, I understand that vets like have to go to school for a long time and they go into lots of student loan debt. I understand that. But I'm not paying $1,000 to clean her teeth, dude. It's like not happening, okay? I don't care if I have it sitting around. I don't care. I'm not paying $1,000 to have her teeth cleaned. It's like... Anyway, I could rant about that. You can get insurance for your pets? Oh my gosh. Medical insurance for my pets. My employer should pay for that. Vet bills are nuts. Yep. I have paid less for a cat to go to essentially the emergency room for like MSU veterinary clinic, which is super expensive. I've paid way less than that for an emergency room visit. And then they wanted it for a teeth cleaning. Not happening. All right, let's talk about Wizards of the Coast purchasing D&D Beyond. Now, here's the thing. They have a press release that went out that didn't really tell us a whole lot. So we're going to talk about what we do know, And then we're going to spend a lot of time with wild speculation because they just didn't tell us much. But that's okay, because we have never let truth and facts get in the way of imagining what wonderful things might happen and what horrible things might happen. So we're going to speculate some, and it's going to be lots of fun. Okay, so first thing, if you don't know, Wizards of the Coast recently bought D&D Beyond at a price tag of, what is it, $146.3 million, which is not too bad. Not a crazy amount of money. D&D Beyond wasn't worth a whole lot, apparently. Anyway, I'm just probably that's a lot of money for them. I don't know. But anyway, they have been bought. So the question is, of course, what does that mean? What does that mean? Now, here's the thing, too. We're not going to see the ramifications for this until probably the second quarter of this year, the third quarter of this year. They have to finalize the sale. They have to do all this type of stuff. But sales like this usually run over, I think. I don't think they ever really finalize these things on time. It's probably going to take later than that. You probably are going to see this running into the fourth quarter. And then we're going to start to see changes at that point. So right now, nothing's going to change because literally D&D Beyond is still its own company, and they will be until probably the third or fourth quarter of this year. And then Wizards will be in control, and then we might see changes. So, first question is, are they shutting them down? Is Wizards going to shut D&D Beyond down? Because I did do a previous video where there was some speculation with Wizards of the Coast announcing their next evolution and going into virtual tabletop stuff, which was speculated as well, that they might shut down D&D Beyond. They might pull their license away and not let them do it anymore. Well, clearly now Wizards of the Coast is buying D&D Beyond. So are they going to shut them down? It doesn't sound like it. It doesn't sound like it. It's pretty clear that Wizards of the Coast wants to move into online content. They said as much in their press release, if my resources were valid that I received. So they're not going to shut D&D Beyond down. I think they're probably going to expand on it and they're going to make it better, but not shutting it down. According to their press release, D&D Wizards of the Coast is going to use the data from D&D Beyond to determine which direction they'll take. Like right now, I'm assuming they don't have like open access to all of the data and metrics from D&D Beyond. But once they actually own the company, they're going to be able to look under the hood and they're going to be able to see, based upon the data, what things are working, what things aren't working, and then they're going to determine their direction from there. So that's something that we know as well. Which means that they're not telling us what exactly they're going to do. They're not committing to anything, either against or for. They're essentially saying, look, we don't know what we're going to do. We need to wait until we get the company first, and then we're going to look at data, and then we're going to decide what we're going to do. So more in the direction of not really telling us a whole lot. But at least they have a good reason for not telling us a whole lot, instead of just keeping their mouth shut. Squeaky came back for treats now. So the next question you might ask yourself is, well, that's cool. So Wizards of the Coast is buying D&D Beyond, and they're probably not going to shut them down. What about all the people that work at D&D Beyond? Are they still going to work there? Or is Wizards basically going to do what many companies do? They buy the company and then they fire the staff and have their own staff do all of the things that the bought company's staff was doing. So is Wizards potentially going to do that? Not initially, for sure. Almost not initially. If the people selling D&D Beyond, the owners of D&D Beyond, were at all caring about the people that currently work for them, they almost assuredly would have tried to work something into the terms of sale whereby their current staff, the people that work there, are able to stay on with the company for a certain amount of time. Maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year or something like that. But it wouldn't shock me that they put into their sales terms a clause that keeps their current employees on for a period of time. If they at all care about them, they would have done that. And so I don't think that, I'm going to make the assumption they care about them, and there's probably something like that going on. So I don't think you're going to see a bunch of people getting fired from D&D Beyond anytime soon. Wizards is probably for sure going to, if they are going to do that, they're going to wait several months until after the sale has been completed. They might wait a year after the sale has been completed. However, you just don't know about these things. You really don't know, because when one company buys another, it is pretty standard to cut out the fat, so to speak, to see who at your current company can take on the responsibilities from other staff at the new company that you just purchased. It is normal to see what job duties are being duplicated. And hey, we have a director of sales at Wizards. Could they also do the job of the director of sales over here at D&D Beyond? And if so, maybe you don't need one of them. So that is a possibility. I work right now at a corporation, at a company, a pretty big one, and they make these sorts of cold, hard decisions all the time. They say they care about people, but really it's about the money, and executives are gonna do what they need to do to increase the bottom line, because they have bonuses that are reliant upon them meeting certain goals in their companies. And so you might see that, you very well might, but it's going to be a ways down the line if they do indeed do that. And then what they're going to do is they're going to try to distance that decision as much as possible from the fact that they acquired them, and they'll try to spin it as a different reason for reducing personnel. It'll never outright be said that they're reducing them because of duplication of job duties and they're just, having other people do it. And there's another reason that the transition will take a while too, if they do decide to let some people go, because you need to cross-train first. When you acquire a new company and all of these people do jobs at that company, like, you can't just get rid of them right away, because they have knowledge, they have important knowledge. And especially D&D Beyond being a program, an online software program, an app, or whatever you want to call it, a website, like there are developers and stuff that know that system, that know that program and stuff, and they have knowledge. And so even if you were thinking about getting rid of some of these people, you need to get your own people up to speed on their stuff. You need to have some cross training so that your own folk know how to do things as well before you consider, getting rid of people. And so I think that's another reason you'll see a delay if they decide to do that. Again, we're wildly speculating because we just don't know. But it's always a possibility with these sorts of things. It is always a possibility. And no one in the front lines will know. This is a thing that corporations do. This is a thing that they do. They will keep all of these things in a very tight circle. The people in the C-suite will know them, and they'll be planning for them, and no one at the front line will hear about it until it's publicly announced and they learn that they're all being laid off in like 2 weeks or something. So this is how my company did it, fired half of the IT department essentially, and they walked out, and this is just what happens. So yeah, anyway, let's move on to happier topics. Let's say we stayed on that one for quite a while, and it's not a happy topic. Let's hope they don't do that though. Yes, Nixit, that's exactly what it is. Training your replacement. And that's exactly what happened at my company. Essentially half of the software, half of the IT department was fired, but they weren't technically fired. They were given jobs at a different company that we were now outsourcing to. And so they were at that other company. They were no longer at our company. They were given jobs at the other company instead of being fired. And then at that other company, they began training their replacements essentially. And then wouldn't you know it, about a year later, all of their jobs were gone and they waved goodbye. So they literally went to train their replacements. This is the sort of thing that companies do. And at my company, they spun it. They totally spun it. They didn't say they were laying them off. They were saying, look, you're not working for us anymore, but we're giving you all jobs with the same compensation. And it's wonderful. It's just beautiful. You know, we didn't have to fire you. You have jobs. Everyone knew they were feeding us a bunch of horse crap. We all knew it was horse crap. We all knew. And everybody that went over to the new company anticipated that eventually their jobs would be gone because they were literally training their replacements, and wouldn't you know it, their jobs are gone. This is what companies do. So who knows? I mean, we could hope that Wizards isn't going to do something like that, because that's very, very sleazy and horrible, and it's not thinking about people, you know. But, you know, businesses are going to do this sort of thing. We'll see what they do. All right, next. Yeah, that's kind of all we know, or like they haven't told us a whole lot more than that, is my understanding. So now we are going to move on to wild speculation. We kind of did that a little bit with the whole fire them or not thing, but now we're going to speculate on some other things that are very interesting to folks. So, virtual tabletops. This is definitely going to be one of the big moves that Wizards of the Coast makes. Having a virtual tabletop to play online. I already said that Wizards of the Coast is going to be focusing more on online content. They bought D&D Beyond. They're going to double down on online content. Digital content is going to be the way to go. And one of the foremost places they're going to look to expand into digital content, I guarantee you, is with a virtual tabletop. Now, we believe that D&D Beyond has probably been working on a virtual tabletop of their own. They have been rolling out little features on their site that seem to be a prelude to an actual virtual tabletop. So it's possible they already have in the works a virtual tabletop that Wizards of the Coast is just going to continue and then roll out at some point. Now, even if they don't already have virtual tabletop in the works, it's possible as well that Wizards is going to reach out to an existing virtual tabletop, such as Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, or Foundry, or another one that's out there, and do perhaps a couple of two things. One, they might purchase them outright. For instance, Wizards just purchases Roll20 and then starts using Roll20 as their virtual tabletop that integrates, hopefully integrates with D&D Beyond. I mean, there are add-ons and stuff that you can get that will kind of make them integrate, but it isn't always seamless. Of course, this raises questions about licensing for other games that run on Roll20. What would happen to those licenses? Would those games continue to be on there? Would they let the licenses roll out? If they let the licenses roll out, that would obviously make a whole lot of people that play other games on Roll20 angry, and things like that. So there are some questions around that. If they were to purchase outright a different virtual tabletop and roll it into the mix, how would they handle that? You might have instead a partnership where they just partner very closely with a company like Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds so that their D&D Beyond product can integrate more seamlessly and have a better experience for players. That is a possibility. Obviously, they originally had a partnership going on with D&D Beyond, Wizards and D&D Beyond working together. So it is very theoretically possible then that in the next evolution, they're going to have a partnership going on with a virtual tabletop, such as Fantasy Grounds. Gotta make sure that's positioned properly. So we don't know exactly what they're gonna do. My guess is, my hope would be that if they do decide to either purchase or partner with a virtual tabletop that already exists, that it's going to be one of the newer ones that has more promise, perhaps more modernization to it. Roll20 is the most popular one, but it's pretty antiquated. It gets the job done, but that's kind of the best you can say about it. Fantasy Grounds has some improvements on it, my understanding is, but some of the virtual tabletops that are out there are even more improved on that. So my personal hope would be that if they do partner with or purchase a virtual tabletop, They go with one like, I've heard Foundry is really nice, and some of the other ones. My hope would be they go with one of those. It's probably going to be cheaper for them to purchase or partner with, and because it's newer, hopefully it will be better for playability purposes than some of the other antiquated ones that we have that work but don't work. I think that we are going to see improvements to D&D Beyond without a doubt. You're going to see faster bug fixes, which some bugs we benefit from and love, which we don't want them to fix. Other bug fixes really suck and reduce functionality and makes things not work, and we'd like those to get fixed. The search functionality. Please, Wizards, if you are listening to this, work on D&D Beyond's search functionality. You know what? Let's do this. Just scrap their search functionality and plug in Google. Just plug on Google, put Google on the site. Google will be able to find stuff. You know, like I have to go to Google to search for stuff in D&D Beyond to find it, as opposed to going to D&D Beyond's search bar. Like, yeah. So hopefully they'll fix that and we'll have some quality of life improvements to D&D Beyond. I mentioned this before, you are definitely going to see a move toward more digital content over printed books. This is without a doubt. This is probably one of the main reasons they purchased D&D Beyond. So they want to focus on online content. Very, very clear. No question about it. Why? Well, printing books is expensive. Not just printing the books, but shipping the books, fulfilling the books. Whereas online content is not expensive. Very, very much not expensive. I know. I print stuff and I also produce online content, digital content, and I can tell you firsthand, printing stuff is expensive. Forget about just the physical printing costs, which you can do in China or something and get them fairly cheap. But also think about the shipping, think about the logistics, think about everything else that goes around a physical product. There's a lot of overhead there. Digital products are so much easier, so much less complicated, very, very easy to manage compared to printed products. So the business benefits of going digital products is very, very clear. You also have a much higher profit on digital products. It is crazy. Once you have your upfront investment and once you have a delivery vehicle, you might have some server costs or some maintenance and stuff, bug fixes and stuff like that. But digital content, once it's created, doesn't really cost anything. Like it does, but it's minuscule compared to having to continue printing stuff. So much higher ROI on digital content as opposed to printed content. And again, I speak from experience because I do both. There are probably exceptions, but in general, that's just the way it works. Also, consider updating things. Consider when you have compatibility things that you want to change so that one edition works with another edition. Consider errata. If you have physical printed books, updates are very, very difficult, and you can't just go back through all of the printed books and fix them. No, you have to release errata sheets and PDFs. Whereas if you have digital content, you can just go in and change it and done. It's changed. Consider the revisions they did to Curse of Strahd some time ago. They went through and they changed some things that they didn't like and that people didn't like about that adventure. And then they released an entirely new book, which probably didn't sell a whole lot. I think maybe because we already had the original one and that was good enough. And we weren't going to buy the new version just because they changed some things. So they spent a whole lot of money creating the new Curse of Strahd, and I suspect there wasn't a whole lot of ROI on it, except for, you know, they were probably going, I don't know if it was virtue signaling or if they were literally wanted to fix things that they felt were wrong about it. However you want to slice it, the ROI was not in physical money profit. It was other ROI, company reputation, brand appeal, and things like that. That was the ROI for that change. But if it were digital content, My point is that it would be super easy for them to just go back in and change those things compared to printed content that needs new layout, new printing, new design, perhaps, and things like that. Stefan says, definitely virtue signaling. It probably is. Okay. So the biggest thing that I see coming up every single time, and I'm sure it's been asked multiple times in the chat, is if we are going the way of digital content, will there be codes in the books to unlock digital content? In other words, if I go out and buy Wizard's latest printed book, will there be a code in it to unlock content on D&D Beyond? Give me that code. Like, this is what everybody wants. Everybody is clamoring for this because they don't want to essentially buy the same book twice. They buy it in the store, the physical product, and then they have to go on D&D Beyond and buy it again. People, generally speaking, if you poll people, hate that. There are some people who will justify it. They'll say, well, you know, it's a different service, a different product and stuff. But the fact remains that most people feel like they're buying the same books twice. And most people really want a digital code in the back of a printed book that allows them to access the content on D&D Beyond. And I'm going to tell you that as much as you want that, you will not get it. You will not get it. There is no way that Wizards is going to give out digital codes to their online D&D content. They're not going to do it. Like I said before, printing is expensive. Digital content is very inexpensive. So when you're running a part of the business that costs a lot of money and has lots of overhead and the ROI isn't as high, and then you have a part of the business that has pretty good ROI, makes you a bunch more money, and the overhead is way lower, what you do is you try to make that money from this part of the business that has a much higher ROI make up for the part of the business, printed books, that doesn't have as much ROI, that costs you more to run. So if they take this part of the business that's expensive to run and then have codes in it that give you this part of the business, the digital content, for free, well, that negates the whole idea of the digital content helping make up for the low ROI on the printed books. So I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that at all. I think you're definitely never going to see digital codes in the back of books to unlock D&D Beyond's content. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I know we've all been asking for it for years. Everybody wants it because they don't want to buy books twice. You're not going to get it. Not going to get it. I would love to eat crow. I would love to be wrong. I just don't believe it. Okay, so what about PDFs? Well, that's even worse. There are even more business reasons not to produce PDFs, because right now with D&D Beyond, you could go through and copy paste the content. You could do screenshots and stuff and pirate it, but it takes some effort and it's not going to look very nice. A PDF is the easiest thing in the world to pirate. You got the PDF, you go put it places, boom, you're done. So I don't think you're ever going to see PDFs. And besides which, if they have digital content on D&D Beyond, releasing PDFs is going to cut that business down. It's going to hurt that business, theoretically. So I don't think that would be shooting themselves in the foot. That would be shooting themselves in both feet and then in both hands at the same time. I don't think you'll ever see that either. No chance of PDFs whatsoever. Besides which, I personally prefer a physical book, for sure. PDFs, in my opinion, are okay when you need them and you're on the run and you can't take the books with you, but I would always much rather have a physical printed book. It's just easier to use, in my opinion. They're not as portable. PDFs, I can throw them all on my iPad or my laptop, which makes it very nice. PDFs are nice when I'm doing streams with you guys and I can show something on the screen itself. So that's why I recently purchased the PDFs of Tome of Beasts 2, and Creature Codex so that we could look at them on screen together and stuff like that. So there are benefits of PDFs, but by and large, printed books are way better than PDFs. So anyway, that's just my personal opinion on PDFs. Next, it would not surprise me whatsoever. It would not surprise me. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would not surprise me if Wizards stopped printing books altogether and went 100% digital at some point in the future. They have announced the next evolution. They have said that things are going to be changing. They have purchased D&D Beyond. We know that 80% of all D&D players have played online at least once in 2021. With the move to online, with it being more popular, with digital being more lucrative, the purchase of D&D Beyond, etc., 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 I think that it's possible. It is possible they stop printing books. Do I think it's going to happen? No. It wouldn't surprise me though if they did, and then they had a print on demand option available to you. So maybe that's part of the next evolution. I don't think so. I think you would have a lot of people really upset because many people, including me, want physical books. Why do we want the physical books? Well, first of all, they're easier to use at the game table. They're easier to use and read in general. But also, once I buy a physical book, you're not getting it back. Like, I have the physical book in my hand, it's mine. You can't take it from me. Online, digital content such as D&D Beyond, that can be shut down any day they want. You can lose access to that at any moment. Virtual tabletops like Roll20, that can get shut down at any moment. They could say we're done and close shop. And all of the books you've bought, all of the content you've unlocked is gone. It is gone the moment they shut it down. So there is a great comfort in having the physical book because it is mine forevermore and thou shalt not take it. But digital content, you could say bye-bye to that in a moment and have not a say about it. Now, the final thing we're going to talk about here is the possibility of a subscription model to D&D Beyond. This is something that I would love to see, is the ability to simply subscribe to D&D Beyond and have access to all of the content. I don't know, $20 a month and it unlocks all of the content. And then I don't have to keep buying the books separately. Or maybe it's $50 a month. I don't know. There might be tiers to it. I would personally love to have a subscription model. I don't buy every single book. I refuse to. It's absolutely ridiculous. Not when I'm buying physical books. I'm not also going to buy the digital ones. But a subscription model, $20 a month or something, I would probably do that. I would, for the convenience of it. I would have the physical books, but also have a subscription model. That I see as a possibility for me as a consumer. Probably there would be other people willing to do that. I don't know. So I've been wanting a subscription model option for some time now. Will we see that? Maybe. But I think it's really going to depend upon their analysis of their financials and the details. When you have a product that people have already demonstrated they're willing to pay for, they're willing to buy the books a second time, essentially, up front. Do you stop doing that and offer a subscription model? There's an ongoing revenue stream with a subscription model that's very nice, whereas buying products up front, it's a one-time income and then you don't get it ongoing. So there are benefits to subscription models, but buying the products up front is usually more expensive and you make more money immediately. So there are pros and cons of each from a business perspective. I would love to see a subscription model. I am not very confident that it's going to go that way. But who knows? We'll see what happens. Okay. those were all of my big talking points. Now I'm gonna go in and see if folks had questions about all of this, and if there's something I maybe forgot, and then we'll talk about. So I'm gonna hit some of these things. Tarmina, thank you for the $10 tip. I really appreciate that. We are raising money for One More Child right now. It is a charity that helps human trafficking victims, foster families, struggling single moms, and all that kind of stuff. So if you'd like to tip, all tips, 100% of them go to that charity. Joseph Crichton, thank you for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. Here's $10 for the fat cat. Thank you, dude. And let's go back down here. Aaron Anderson says, I would like to see a one-stop shop for everything. Right now, I use D&D Beyond, Foundry, Discord, Incarnate, and Patreon for mods for my virtual tabletop. Yeah. Well, yeah, the Patreon thing, you're not going to see that go away because those creators are making those mods themselves, right? So that's not going to go away. Incarnate is a separate platform and stuff. To pull everything together, here's the thing. The concept of a one-stop shop sounds wonderful, but you would lose out on quality. You would 100% lose out on quality. When you have a whole bunch of individual companies or people doing things, and they are solely focused and invested on that one thing, Incarnate, they have a map making software, which is really good, by the way. That's what most of our cartographers use for our products. It is really, really good. You can make excellent maps with it. When you have a company that is focused on one thing, map making software, they usually do a pretty good job at it. When you have patrons or creators on Patreon creating certain add-ons and plugins for virtual tabletops, that is their focus. That is what they do. They're probably pretty good at it. When you have somebody doing a virtual tabletop like Foundry, that is their one thing. That is what they're focusing on. They're probably pretty good at it, unless you're Roll20. But when you have a company that starts pulling all of those things in, and now the company is doing lots of stuff, and they have lots of systems that they work on, what you tend to see is the quality goes down dramatically, because you might have your map making software over here, but you know what? One of the executives is really, really, really excited right now about the virtual tabletop. And so we are going to pull developers and personnel off from that map making software, and we're going to put them on the virtual tabletop, and we're going to go hardcore on the virtual tabletop. But then priorities are going to shift. Priorities will shift, and we're going to go over here and we're going to focus on this different product right now. This is what you see in big companies. You see the politicking, you see the shifting of priorities, you see the more things you're dabbling your fingers in, the quality comes down. So is there convenience in a one-stop shop? Yes. Do you see quality with one-stop shops? Hard pressed. Bureaucracy gets so big, they're doing so many things. It's the jack of all trades argument. You know, you do a whole bunch of things, but you don't really do them super well. So I don't think that was an ideal world. Convenient, yes. Quality, maybe not. Do you think Wizards will improve the search engine in D&D Beyond? I don't know. Maybe. They might. The thing is that when you're making business decisions, a lot of the decisions you make focus around the finances and which things are going to make you more money. Now, keeping your customers happy ultimately makes you money too, because happy customers mean customers that stay, and upset customers are customers that leave and never buy from you again. So quality of life improvements like fixing search functionality, you say improve it, but I say fix it because it's a hot mess right now. Yes, that is going to help your bottom line, but there are other things that can. Here's the thing. When you work in corporations and businesses, there's like There's hard costs and soft costs. And then there's like hard like revenue and like soft revenue. And what I'm trying to say, I guess, with that is, or the better way to say it is there is revenue that we can measure, and then there is revenue that can't be measured. So if you increase and improve the search functionality of D&D Beyond, will it make your customers happier? Probably. Will it make some of them stay and be customers longer? Probably. But how do you measure that? How do you measure that? Because people at the top in the C-suite, they look at the reports, they look at the numbers. And if you can't measure that and you can't show to them that fixing the search functionality is going to make you more money, then they're probably not going to approve it. However, you can definitely put some numbers together that say, hey, if we create a subscription service, we are forecasting this sort of revenue increase from a subscription service. And that's something you can put in a report, and that's something you can pitch to executives. Now, if you say we're going to fix the search functionality and we forecast this much increase in revenue, but how do you measure that? How did you get those numbers? You know, it's harder to calculate, it's harder to measure and stuff like that. And so I see this a lot in the company that I'm in. There are some things that you know in your gut are good for business, but you can't prove it. And therefore decisions don't get made for those things. They get made for other things that can be proven. So that's like a high level concept, I guess. I think they're going to say it's good enough for a long time with the search function. So number one priority is going to be the legendary bundle and it giving access to future content for free. Yeah, Goliath Cleric. I hope that I mean, they have to look at that and fix that. I mean, I don't want them to because I'm benefiting from it. They probably have to. Do you think that Wizards of the Coast will try to make a new VTT to combat Roll20, Foundry VTT, Fantasy Grounds, etc.? I mean, supposedly D&D Beyond has been working, I believe, on a virtual tabletop. We just don't know about it. But I suspect they have been. Is Wizards going to try to make one? Maybe, but they're starting, you know, way behind the 8 ball. Like all these other people have already started. They have a head start on them. I feel like when you have the money that Wizards has, if you want to get into the virtual tabletop scene, you don't code your own, you don't create your own, you purchase one. If you really want to get into that, you purchase one. It is the fastest road to getting into the game. Like if you want to create a basketball team, the fastest way is not to, you know, get little kids when they're 5 and start giving them food and growing them up and then waiting until they're like 18 or whatever to play basketball for you. The fastest way to build a basketball team is to go out and find players that exist already and that are good at it and just buy them to be on your team. So if Wizards wants to get into virtual tabletop, the fastest method is to purchase an existing virtual tabletop. They just purchased D&D Beyond. What would stop them from purchasing another virtual tabletop? Money? They have money. They have crap tons of money. Tons of money. And now they're looking to grow and expand. So I think they would buy before they would build their own because it's faster. And it will get them returns way faster. Way faster. What is the virtual tabletop software you recommend? I am a new DM and tried Roll20, but it actually froze and stopped working for all the players mid-battle. Thanks for all the content. Yeah, don't do Roll20. Roll20 is a flaming pile for the most part. If you haven't used anything else before, I've not used anything else before, so it's hard for me to recommend stuff to you. My biggest recommendation is don't use Roll20, I suppose. Fantasy Grounds I've heard is decent. I've heard good things about Foundry VTT. There are some other ones out there. I don't know which one I would recommend to you. I would recommend you not use Roll20 though, for sure. Lots of issues and problems and stuff. Do you think we start seeing more or less discounts and sales on D&D Beyond going forward? You mean once Wizards takes them over? I don't know. The thing is that if you have too many discounts and sales, and that really just becomes your price, right? If you have them every so often, but not always, then people have their eye out for them, and then when you offer them, they jump in and they grab it. But there are always going to be people that can't wait and buy it at full price, you know? So I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't think I have a real opinion on that. And does the buying of Wizards of the Coast affect that? I don't know. Do you see them creating or buying a VTT company as well? If so, which one? Yeah, I addressed most of that. If they were, it really depends. Do they want to capture market share when they purchase a virtual tabletop? Or do they want to purchase a virtual tabletop that is newer and has greater potential? That is the real question, because if they want to get market share, then perhaps they go for a virtual tabletop like Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds, which has a very high user base. But if they want a newer virtual tabletop that has higher potential and is newer and more modern and theoretically easier to use and has a better game experience, theoretically, then you go for something maybe like Foundry VTT or something. I don't know. It really depends on what your goal is. Long-term smart, in my opinion, long-term smart is getting the virtual tabletop that is going to offer the better user experience and has more room for growth and more potential in it. If you, the short-term easy answer is to go for market share and go for a large virtual tabletop like Roll20 that has a massive user base, because you theoretically, if you purchase that, you would just roll those people in to your virtual tabletop scene where they're paying you $10 a month, right? Whereas, so if you want market share and immediate money coming in, Roll20. But if you want future growth and future potential, but less income right now, you go for something newer and more modern like Foundry VTT, and then you slowly will pull people into it because you offer better features. It's more modern, it actually works and doesn't crash on you all the time, and dynamic lighting isn't a flaming pile. So you know, I'm assuming it isn't. I haven't really used it before, I just have heard good things about it. So it really just depends on what you're going for, market share or future growth, in my opinion. Sometimes executives think about future growth, sometimes they think about market share. They will make decisions based upon how they are compensated. If executives have built into their yearly bonus increasing sales and revenue by X amount and stuff, they might go for the Roll20 option. Like, this is like, you know, this is the way people think. You know, I have a bonus of $2 million that is tied into my increasing revenue by this much. Okay, cool. What am I going to do this year to increase revenue? Well, the easiest way is to go for market share and Roll20. Is that the long-term smart solution for the company? No, it's not, but it gets me a $2 million bonus, and so that's what I'm doing. So unfortunately, decisions get made on terms such as those. Not always, but it certainly happens, and it happens a lot. Do you think Wizards of the Coast will use D&D Beyond to create a virtual tabletop and then get Beyond 20 shut down, forcing people to subscribe with them in order to add D&D virtual tabletop? Is it working? Are we back? Hello! I think we're back. All right, cool. It wasn't, interestingly enough, it wasn't my internet. It was OBS. I reset my internet and that didn't seem to fix it. And then I just stopped OBS and started OBS again and it seemed to be working. So that's all it was. That's good. I'll have to remember that for next time. That's super, super interesting. Oh, you know what? OBS has been prompting me to do an update for a couple times and I keep saying no to it. Maybe it's getting grumpy that I'm not doing the update like I'm supposed to. All right. Well, that was a good break. That was a wonderful break. Silver Sentinel, hello. What's up, dude? Jane Alanta, thank you for the super chat, dude. I appreciate that. Jay says, Luke, your advice is amazing. Well, thank you, sir. My finale of Expanded Dragon Heist is this week, game 78. Haha, 78. Wow, Dragon Heist runs from like level 1 to 5, right? After 20 years off, DMing was a lot to pick back up, and your insight has made my game so much better. Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Jay. I'm happy to hear that your game is doing well, and I would love to know how you turned a level 1 to 5 adventure into 78 game sessions. I mean, you did say expanded, so I'm assuming that once they finished that, you kept on going, but that's cool, dude. That's awesome. What did you miss? Jaspers, you missed like almost nothing because our stream crashed and we were just sitting here. I'm out of coffee, tea and stuff. Crafty Matt, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hi, Luke. That is all. Well, thank you, sir. All right, we should do a cat strike. Is Danny here? Is Danny here? I need to know if Danny's here because we have a special cat trip to do if she is here. I just don't know if she's here or not. Any moderators know if she's here? No, you don't? Okay. Well, let's see. We're gonna do a cat trip here for Squeaky because he wants it, and then I'm gonna get some more tea. So I have, this is, we don't have the other stuff. I can't find the banana. The happy carrot has been defiled and can no longer be used. So now we're going to put this on this little rope thingy, and this is what Squeaky's gonna play with because they have destroyed everything else. Calm down, Squeaky. Calm down. All right, I'll be back. What are you doing? Oh, baby. John the Vampire, hello. Squeaky, he just gave up on his, he doesn't want to play anymore. Squeaky. He's like, where's the banana? Where's the carrot? Oh, this smells so good. Oh, I love mint tea. It is like one of my favorites. It is so amazing. Hey, Kirby! Dude. Thank you, Kirby, for the $50 tip, man. I appreciate that. Kirby is like our all-time massive tipper. He supports like every single charity we contribute to, and I deeply appreciate that, dude. Thank you so much, man. And you got his name up on the screen too. There we go. Sweet. Yeah, the happy carrot has been defiled, absolutely defiled. So it's I need replacements now for like all of the cat toys. All right. Dude, you guys, have you heard about my Kickstarter, Layers and Legends? Yeah, we have a Kickstarter going on right now. 2 massive hardcover books full of D&D 5th edition resources. I'm actually curious, like, how it's doing. We should go over and take a look at it right now. Let's go see how it's doing. I'm curious. I haven't looked at it in a little bit. Let's see. Layers and Legends Kickstarter. All right, baby. Come on. How we doing? Woo! Hey! Cool. Yeah, we're at 154K right now. We just unlocked a stretch goal to add premium paper. And we also decided that everyone who backs at the Brass Dragon $100 level and above is going to get 14 additional 5th edition adventures thrown in. Our next stretch goal is at 165K, and we're going to unlock more artwork and puzzles. And these are the covers, by the way. And we have amazing artwork being done. This is one example right here. I love that piece of artwork. It is so cool. The cute little dragon, you know, needs to be rescued. It's really cool. We have, this is really cool. I love this piece of artwork right here. This dude right here is making some amazing artwork for us as well. Obviously all the tiers are there, the different things you can get. We have a bunch of add-ons as well. We decided to have an alternate cover for the books as well. You can get that as an add-on. More artwork here. This is a Medusa in her lair. So we have so many cool artists working on these things. It's amazing. And then there's a bunch of add-ons you can get. You can get Into the Fae too. If you missed out on the Into the Fae hardcover the first time we had that Kickstarter, well, the only time we had that Kickstarter, but if you missed out on it, you can get Into the Fae as an add-on to this Kickstarter as well. So go out there and check it out. You might find some stuff out there that you enjoy that will help you in your games. So the Kickstarter we're about a week and a half into it. It's gonna go into the very beginning of May, roughly. But the more stretch goals that we unlock, the more content we get for everyone. So go out there and take a look at it. Might like it. Yeah, I love the artwork. Dan Ross has been running games for over 30 years. Woo! That's awesome. How long have I been running games? 1996 is, I think, when I started running games. What is that? 1996. How many years is that? 36? Right? Is that 36? No. 24? 24? Is it 24? I can't do math. This is hard math too. 26? Oh yeah, it's 2002 right now. I am smart. But there have been breaks in there. You know, there was a really big break in there actually too. So there have been a couple breaks in there. So it's not like non-stop, you know. And let's be honest, the length of time that you've been doing something doesn't always guarantee competency. It doesn't. I know lots of people who have been doing things for a long time that suck at it. So just because you've been doing something for a long time doesn't mean anything necessarily. It often does, but not necessarily. You can be a really horrible person at something and just keep on doing it because you know. Thank you, John the Vampire, for the super chat. He says, my bunny told me to send money to your cats. Is your bunny bribing my cats? Like, here, take some money. Please don't eat me. What are we doing? Oh, we're answering questions. Okay, cool. I'm like, I don't know what we're doing. This is my live stream. I don't know. What is the best way to deal with a rules lawyer? Just kick him out of your game. Oh, don't argue over stupid pedantic rules and crap, man. I'm gonna see if I can give you a serious answer. I don't have patience for bull crap, you know? So a rules lawyer is a person that tries to get their way based upon interpreting the rules, sometimes in colorful ways, sometimes in ways that aren't actually intended. Sometimes they just try to stick to the letter of the rules and actually enforce them and stuff. But a rules lawyer, in essence, what a rules lawyer is someone that argues with the dungeon master. If you want to boil it down, that is what a rules lawyer, that is what makes a rules lawyer most problematic, in my opinion. Now, some people will say that rules lawyers try to get advantages through enforcing like rules as written and stuff like that. But that is like, the real problem to me is that rules lawyers argue with the dungeon masters and bring down the game. They bog the game down. They prevent you from playing the game, and instead you find yourself embroiled in these long discussions that nobody enjoys, essentially arguing about rules. And nobody really has fun when that's happening. So that's, my opinion, the real problem if you boil it down with rules lawyers, is they arguing with the DM and you're not playing the game and people aren't having fun. And that is a big, big problem. So my standard rule is, if there is a question about the rules, we will have a very quick discussion. I will listen to your side, I will consider, and I will make a ruling. Once I make a ruling, it is requested that you let it lie and we move on. If I am ruling on a gray matter, I will often tell you, look it, I'm not really sure. We're gonna do it this way for now. After the game, I'm going to look it up. I will investigate further and I will let you know what the official ruling is gonna be going forward. But for right now, so that we can play the game and not get bogged down, we're gonna do it this way. So that's the way I do it. And I just ask they respect that and let us play the game. If I have someone who is constantly arguing with me about the rules, I will tell you that is one of my biggest pet peeves. It pisses me off beyond belief. A player that argues with me about the rules constantly will not last long in my games. I'm just telling you, I will ask them to leave. I can't take it. I can't handle it. It is not good for the game. It's not because they're offending my fragile ego. It's not because they dare argue with me. It has nothing to do with that. Okay? It's simply that it is not fun for gameplay. I don't enjoy having to have those discussions at length during the game. The other players don't enjoy doing it. I want to show up and I want to play D&D, and all the other players do. And you, sir, are killing that when you argue about rules all the time. So It's not because they're arguing with me. It's not because they know the rules better than I do. It's not because they correct me. I don't care if I get corrected. I don't know all the rules perfectly. I make mistakes too. But when you're going to argue about something and bring the whole game down, I'm not going to tolerate that, dude. And so players who do that just aren't going to last very long in my games. I'll ask them kindly a couple times, say, hey, you know what? This is my ruling. Let's just live with it and move on. If they can't let it go, I'm going to eventually have to have the talk with them and be like, dude, this isn't working, man. You're constantly arguing about rules and you're not stopping. I've asked you to stop. You're not doing it. You're bringing the whole game down. This isn't going to work, dude. Like, this isn't the game for you. I'm not the dungeon master for you. I apparently don't interpret the rules the same way you do. And you have, you know, a very, very strong disagreements with the way that I'm using the rules. And so this is just not the right game for you. And you're not enjoying yourself clearly because you're always arguing about the rules, and the other players don't enjoy all of those arguments and stuff. And we are just way too far apart on the way that we view the rules. And it's making for an unenjoyable game probably for you. It's making for an unenjoyable game for me as the dungeon master, and the other players aren't doing it. So I think the best thing to do is for you to go find a different game with a dungeon master who views the rules the same way that you do. And everybody is going to be happier for that. And thereby, I would ask them to leave the game. And I would probably, you know, couch it in that framework. If I am favorably inclined and in a good mood. If they're really getting at me, I'll just kick them out and be like, you're done, goodbye. but I would try to do it nicely if I could, unless my emotions get the better of me, which it happens. What are you gonna do? But you always try to be a nice person if you can, but don't let people walk all over you. Don't let people take advantage of you. Like, be nice to people, treat people well, respectfully, and be kind. But don't be a pushover. Don't let people take advantage of you. Don't let people walk on you. You know, you need to be nice and kind and generous, but you need to have a backbone as well. Do you think 5e is beginning to have too many splat books? I don't think we have that many splat books right now. They're pretty minor. We have the core books, we have Xanathars, and we have Tasha's. That's not a lot. That's nothing compared to second edition splat books, probably third edition splat books. So no, compared to other editions, our splat books are minor, in my opinion, for 5th edition. We don't have that many at all. Most of the content that they've been rolling out for 5th edition has been adventures. Mostly just adventures. They've been really focused on adventure modules for 5th edition, as opposed to like splat books. So I think we're doing okay with that. We don't have too many for sure. Oh, member questions that I'm missing. Okay, I'll go back and get those. What rows were those? Rows 50 and 82. I got that one. And then, okay, I just got that one. And then 82, where's 82? Oh, okay, there it is. When you create a campaign, which part is your starting point? Picking a map, picking monsters, or the other. Is it different? Is it different when it is an online game compared to live sessions? No, there's no difference. I run my in-person games or my online games, or even when I'm streaming a game live, there is no difference to how I plan my games. It's all the same. There's literally no difference. What is my starting point? It's always going to be monsters. It's always going to be finding a villain, a big bad, something that seems cool and interesting. And then I start thinking about motivations. What does this big bad monster want? You know, who's working with them? How are they going about getting that thing they want? And what conflict is that introducing into the world? Because that is where the monsters and the big bad and what they're trying to do intersects with the adventuring party, the conflict. When they're doing something in the game world that's causing problems, that's what the adventuring party hears about and goes off to solve. So those are my thought processes, always. The maps are irrelevant. The map is flavor text. Maps are cool. Maps are important. Very, very important. But that's not at the high level. At the high level, it's irrelevant. I think about monsters. I think about motivations. I think about what they're doing. I think about the problems that they're causing, and those sorts of things. I have two campaign planning videos on my channel, campaign planning part 1 and campaign planning part 2, that I made several years ago that kind of explain my thought processes when I'm planning campaigns. And the first one, part 1, gives theory on how I plan campaigns. And then the second part, actually we go in and we design a campaign at a very high level. And I literally give you an example of the process that I use. Charlie the Tailor. Any conclusions on offering Kickstarter merch as an add-on? Yes, we're working on it right now. My dude Zack is reaching out to one of our contacts who does merch for us, and we're trying to get some options for stickers, for t-shirts, for hoodies, and they had a couple other ideas too they're looking at. We're definitely probably going to add some at some point here. I really want quotes on the prices so that I make sure that I don't lose money. That's the thing, you know, you're going to put an add-on, you're going to put a product on your thing. But let's pretend that it costs me $20 to get a shirt made, you know, and let's pretend that I put it up there for $15. I end up losing money. And you don't run business. If you run businesses that just lose money constantly, you go out of business. And so we need to make sure that we plan properly and we put a price out there that is actually going to be viable for us. And so we're trying to get those quotes. I'm hoping to have them. Very glad Cleric's like, I'm working on getting quotes. I'm working on it. Our contact has been sick apparently for a while. So I have an idea of how much the things cost already from having done it before. And I'm like this close to just pulling the trigger and putting some numbers out there and calling it a day. In my experience, there aren't that many people that order merch on Kickstarters anyway. So as add-ons, so, you know, if we don't quite get the numbers right, I'm not super concerned about it because I know that not a whole lot of people order them anyway. So it's not a huge deal, but I would love to have numbers first so that I make good business decisions. Robert Bonsley, thank you for the super chat, dude. How would you make Peter Griffin as a player character? What class and stuff? Peter Griffin is from the Family Guy, right? I can't stand that show. That is like just absolute horrible, crappy content. I can't stand that show. So, all I know is that he's like the protagonist and he's overweight and he's like a moron. That's all I know about him. That is not enough to design a player class based on. It's a new spreadsheet every stream, dude. What is a book you wish Wizards wouldn't make or remake for 5th edition? I would love to see a Dark Sun book and not remake. What would I have them not remake? I don't know. I mean, there aren't any books that I have used in previous editions that I think sucked. I mean, let's be clear though, my experience with previous editions is not all encompassing. So I'm sure there have been plenty of bad books that they've made. None of them that I've personally read or owned come to my mind off the top of my head. So I don't have anything to offer for that. Would you allow stabbing with a sword to deal piercing instead? I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, historically, swords are a stabbing weapon as well as a slashing weapon. That's one of their benefits. You can stab as well as slash. So absolutely 100% possible. I will tell you this though. It takes more expertise and training to stab with a weapon than it does to slash with a weapon. Slashing is fairly easy, whereas stabbing requires technique, practice, accuracy, etc., etc. Otherwise, it's going to miss. It will glance off. It won't be as effective. And you know, so the listed damage type is slashing. If a character wanted to stab with it, I would probably allow it. I might say that the attack is with disadvantage, but if they were a class such as a fighter or a barbarian or a paladin who is specifically trained with these weapons and stuff, I would probably just allow it. If you had a class that maybe something like a bard or a rogue that isn't quite focused on the melee stuff, then I might have a different ruling. I don't know. It never really comes up a whole lot because honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like in 5th edition, slashing, bludgeoning, and piercing damage types mostly don't matter. I think you can count on one hand the number of enemies where the damage type actually matters. I think skeletons might be one of them. But other than a few enemies, it's irrelevant. It makes no difference. And so at that point, it really comes down to flavor for me. Like, if the actual damage type makes no difference whatsoever, then shoot, shouldn't you just be able to do any of them? I think you could make an argument that yes, you should. Now, if you're talking about a Rakshasa who has a specific vulnerability to, I believe, what is it? Silver piercing weapons wielded by a lawful good character or something like that. Like a Rakshasa has a specific vulnerability, I think, to piercing attacks. And there are some other criteria around it. Somebody in chat can tell me what it is. So if your player was specifically trying to argue that edge case so they could get, you know, vulnerability on piercing attacks with their longsword against the Rakshasa, then I would probably say, dude, that is way too crazy of like probably power gaming at that point. And so I would just be like, no, we're not doing that, dude. You're taking it too far. Magical piercing by a good aligned character. Yeah. So if they were specifically trying to argue that edge case, I'd be like, no, dude, we're not doing that. We're taking it too far. I'm going to stick by the rules in this case. The rules as written is how it's going to be, because you're essentially trying to, they're not even rules lawyering. They're definitely power gaming. You could argue they might be metagaming, maybe a little bit, but it could also be in character knowledge that they have a vulnerability to that as well. But anyway, they're taking it too far, and I would say no to that. Absolutely 100% done. Stab you with my hammer. Yeah. I want to hunt my players with T-Rex through the jungle. How can I make them want to avoid facing it the first time they notice the ripples in the water? You can't. Like, what are you gonna do, dude? Like, your players are gonna investigate those things. You know, you could. I don't know how you could prevent them from doing that, dude. You're also getting into the gray area of trying to determine what your players do for them. Like, instead of just presenting a situation and seeing what your players do, you're presenting a situation and trying to make sure that they don't do something. That is going too far. You're getting into the gray area of taking away their agency when you're trying to push them a certain way. And so I'm not going to tell you how you could do that, because I don't think that is good form, in my opinion, on the part of a dungeon master to try to push their players in a certain way. I believe that dungeon masters should present situations to players. You see ripples in the water, and then allow your players to decide what to do. Now, you could say ripples in the water and all of the ground trembles, You can make it foreboding and terrifying, and they might decide not to investigate, but I wouldn't try to push their hand either way. I would present the situation and allow your players to decide what they're going to do, because that is their prerogative, that is their right, that is their free will and agency at stake. Have you ever run Tome of Horrors from Tales from the Yawning Portal? I've never run it. I have read it. My understanding is that Tome of Horrors in Tales from the Yawning Portal has been toned down quite a bit from the original Tome of Horrors. I still think Tome of Horrors, the new one that they published in Tales from the Yawning Portal, is still a DM screw job. You know, you touch an orb and you are, I think in one case you're teleported outside the dungeon, but all of your equipment, including magic items, are teleported into like some interior chamber where you can't get at them. And so you lose all of your gear. And then there are other things that if you touch them, I think you get disintegrated and stuff. I don't know. It's a big old huge DM screw job is what it is. So if I were to run that for my players, I would explicitly explain to them, you guys, this dungeon is not fair. It is, you know, I want you guys to know this going in. This is the Tome of Horrors. Okay, Gygax originally designed this to be a screw job because his players were getting big heads and thought nothing could take them down. This is a toned down version, but it's still a DM screw job. So just embrace that and try to enjoy it. Okay, we're going to experience it, but recognize that there are things in here that are not fair. And, you know, it's designed that way. So I think if you preface it that way and your players understand that, that improves and increases the probability that they're not going to get pissed at you and be upset. Improves, does not guarantee. Oh yes, we are running a giveaway, you guys. I'm bad at plugging this stuff. We're running a giveaway. You can get a D&D book, or you can get store credit on the DM Lair store. We have lots of cool things over there. So enter the giveaway. There's a link down in the chat. Thank you, Penguin Butt, for saying that. I'm dumb. You should be doing my job. Come on camera, run the streams. You'll do better than I am. Sometimes I just, yeah. What do you guys think? Should we have Penguin Butt run a stream? Should we get her on camera and she runs the entire stream for 3 hours? What do you guys think? Penguin Butt is having a breakdown right now and screaming at me. Luke, no! I hate you! What is wrong with you? Look at Penguin Butt. Everybody wants you to do it. Look, they're all saying yes. Goliath Cleric says, I, for one, welcome our new Penguin Overlord. Ed says no, that would make her sad. Penguin says, I will make a onesie and a yellow mask and give terrible advice. I will run a chaos stream and I will love it. I mean, I would be fine with that. I think that would be awesome. The Penguin stream. As long as it doesn't make you sad. I'm just messing with you though. Unless you really want to. How do you like to receive or digest a new PC's backstory? I like to get it written format. A Word document is fine. Character sheet would be okay. I'd like it to be short, maybe 1 page or so that I can read it. I also have questions. I have like 9 questions that I ask my players to help them develop their backstory as well. And so usually I just ask them to answer the questions and we call it a day. I have that actually, it's called my RPG backstory template. And that's actually available right now on the DM Lair store for free. You can go out there. Maybe if one of my mods can throw a link to the DM Lair store in the chat, you can go there and literally get my RPG backstory template for free. And it has the 9 questions that I use in my games to help my players develop backstories. And the questions are designed in a way that get the information that DMs need to get the interesting things from their backstories that help them weave that stuff into their campaign and develop character side arcs, which I've talked about in length before. So they're very purposeful questions, and I think that it also helps players know where to begin, because instead of having a blank sheet of paper and the dungeon master just saying, "Give me a backstory," it gives them prompts and questions, a place to start, and which makes it easier for them, in my opinion, and increases the probability that you're actually going to get a backstory. Josh Hall, thank you so much for the $5 tip. I appreciate that. That is going to go to One More Child, the charity that we are currently raising money for. Goliath Cleric, it is on Drive-Thru RPG, but I also recently put it on the DM Lair store as well. So it's there in, it is definitely there. I put it there. I'm running Tome of Annihilation and I want to increase the involvement of the Red Wizards. I've never run that. I don't know anything about it. My party is level 10 and I have scaled the adventure up. I was thinking of including Zash Tarn. Is 2 liches too much? You know, the thing about liches is that they're spellcasters. And the thing about spellcasters is that they die really fast. And the thing about spellcasters dying really fast is that they're not challenging whatsoever. So 2 liches, you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, 2 liches. But the reality of the fact is that if the players get next to those liches and start unloading on them, they're going to die pretty quickly. They'll get 2 rounds of attacks and stuff, probably. So maybe not too much, but it might be, it's going to be swingy. My suggestion would be to, instead of having 2 liches, give the lich henchmen. Have the lich have minions, other monsters, undead creations that are helping the lich. Have a lich and a mummy lord and several mummies. Add some ghouls. I don't know, get creative. But if you have a battle with a lich casting spells and a bunch of melees that are keeping the player back from that lich, giving that lich some defensive screening so the lich can actually cast the spells and not die, then that is going to increase the probability of that actually being a satisfying battle and an interesting battle. I will also say that if your players have counterspell, you had better figure out a way for your lich to actually be able to do something. Otherwise, they're going to counterspell everything your lich does, and your lich isn't going to do anything, and it'll be a lame battle. I really feel like counterspell is one of those things they put in the game that does not improve the game at all. I think that it makes every single battle with a spellcaster boring as crap and stupid. Like, I get excited to have spellcasters that can actually cast spells and do cool things, and then players counterspell every single spell they cast, and the spellcaster doesn't do anything, and it's lame and boring and stupid. And so it's like, okay, well, if you're just going to counter all of my spells, which could make the game more interesting for you, then I'm just going to always throw big melee brutes in that just deal bunches of damage, like big sacks of hit points that do damage or something. It's like, I don't know. Counterspell really just sucks the fun out of the game for me in a lot of cases. I hate it. I do. So that's just been my experience with counterspell. So if you're running a lich, you got to figure out a way to actually have that lich be able to cast spells. Otherwise, he's going to get countered into the ground and nothing's going to happen. Oh, was I down for a second? I'm okay right now. Oh gosh. Should I make my players roll to solve a puzzle or a riddle? If so, win. Love the DM tips. Josh, oh my gosh. I actually have a video coming out in May that's talking about this. It's the idea of challenging the players or challenging the characters. Some people will call it role play or role play, you know, rolling as in dice or role play as in, you know, a role-playing game. I call it brains versus dice. You know, should the players use their brains to figure out a challenge such as a puzzle or riddle, or should they just be able to roll dice to solve the puzzle or riddle? And I do a deep dive on this topic in a video coming out in May. I'll give you the conclusion right now. If I spend my time developing a puzzle or a riddle, it could take me some time. I don't know, a half hour, an hour, I don't know, however long it takes me to make a puzzle or a riddle, because I'm bad at them. If I spend my time developing it, and then we get to the game table and I explain what it is to the players and I take time describing it, and then the wizard steps forward and makes one investigation check, solves it, and then they move on, like, what conclusion am I going to walk away from at the game table? Well, I guess I'm not making any puzzles or riddles anymore. I will never make another one because the players are just going to solve it with a die roll. And so the next time there's a puzzle or riddle, I'll just say, hey guys, guess what? You came up, there's a puzzle in this room. You must complete the puzzle to move on to the next room. I'm not going to tell you what the puzzle is because it's irrelevant. The details are completely irrelevant because the wizard is just going to make a die roll right now. Please make your investigation check. Yes, you passed. Okay, cool. The puzzle has been solved and you can go on to the next room. And my players will be like, well, that's a really crappy way to run the game. Yeah, but you know what else is even crappier? For me to spend lots of time creating a puzzle or a riddle, describing it to you, and then having the wizard make a die roll and then moving on to the next room. That's even crappier than what I just did. And so I'm not going to create them anymore. We're just going to make die rolls every time there's a puzzle or a riddle. In fact, that's pretty lame too. So we're just not going to have puzzles or riddles. We're just going to get rid of them altogether because making die rolls to bypass them is just not very fun. So yeah, we're just not going to have them anymore. I mean, that is the natural conclusion of things if you can make a die roll to get past a puzzle or a riddle. So I have my players use their brains to solve puzzles and riddles. And die rolls, such as perception checks, investigation checks, will get them clues, will get them more information to help them solve the puzzle or riddle, but it won't solve it for them. It will not solve it for them. And the other thing too that I think is important to note is that although there is one player who could make that investigation check and get them past that puzzle or riddle, that player might not care about puzzles and riddles and they just want it to be over with. But the other 4 players, they just got screwed out of a part of the game that they might actually enjoy. There are players who like puzzles and riddles. They want to solve them. They find it to be interesting and intriguing and challenging, and they enjoy it. And so when you have a character that just rolls to solve it and then you move on, that is robbing that opportunity from the other players to enjoy that part of the game. And so I think that is also something that needs to be considered as well. I'm looking for questions. Oh gosh. Any thoughts on having other people run more one-shots or campaigns for you under the DM Lair name? I don't know what the purpose would be for that. I don't know what they would get out of it or what business or the channel would get out of it. So I'm not really sure what the incentive would be for anybody to do that. So I don't, that's my initial thought. Why would they want to and why would I want to? So yeah, I don't know. Do you have tips or good options on environmental hazards or opportunities during fights? Do you use things like breaking pillars which cause structural breakdowns to damage enemies? I mean, players could do that. They could attempt to do those things if they had those ideas and were like, okay, I want to break this pillar to see if I can collapse part of the room. I'd be like, great, let's do it. Bear in mind that it is a marble pillar and it has tons of weight upon it, and it's probably going to be difficult to break. And if you do break it, there's no guarantee that the part of the ceiling that collapses is the part of the ceiling that you want, and that it won't lead to a chain reaction, because you're literally breaking down part of the room that holds the ceiling up. So the results could be chaotic. So just bear in mind that I understand you want to do X thing, and you can try, and I'll put some rules around it and stuff, but just be aware that when you're ripping down pillars, you aren't guaranteed results. Like the whole ceiling collapse. So I don't know. They can try those sorts of things. In cases like that, I might give them a disclaimer and explain potential hazards around it, because they should be aware of that. But yeah, they can absolutely do that. They could use furniture in the room to do certain things. It's really up to the players, and they're declaring that they're going to do those things. Sometimes those ideas can work out really well. Sometimes they can be less optimal, and it's better to just attack the enemy than trying to goof around, do this, that, or the other. In general, I tend to feel it feels like the current rule set makes options other than attacking or casting spells or using your abilities rather inferior. Like, I've tried to have many times I tried to have enemies shove and grapple characters, and they almost always fail. So I try to do these things that can make things interesting, and the game mechanics don't always work in that favor, you know? And so it seems like the more optimal thing is just to have them attack, you know, even though it's kind of boring. So I don't know. Players are always welcome to do that sort of thing, and if they declare they're doing it, we just improvise things on the fly as to how it works. What's the worst DM advice you've ever heard? The worst DM advice I've ever heard. I mean, it's gotta be, I think it was a guy on YouTube or something, and he was basically saying something, along the lines of, when you start playing D&D with your friends, you don't know how long the game campaign is actually going to last. So, you know, just be free with magic items, give them magic items out, you know, it's cool, people enjoy them, it's lots of fun. So don't be stingy with them, just give out magic items, because the campaign might last 2 months and then be over, you don't know. And so if you don't give them out and you wait until higher levels, they might never get them, because the campaign will break up. And while it is very true that many campaigns do break up quickly and dissolve and stuff like that and don't last super long, the counter to that is that one of the most commonly asked questions in my live streams is, Luke, I gave my players too many magic items and now they're too powerful and the game is broken, what should I do? Like, I get that question all the time. It might even have been one of the questions from tonight, I don't know. So I think that is absolutely despicable advice. I think it's horrible advice. I would not recommend doing that. It will cause you problems down the line, unless you are an experienced game master and you know how to adjust things when you give out tons of magic items. And if you're an experienced game master that knows how to do that, then you don't need to listen to that person's advice or to my advice. You got things under control and you can do things as you see fit. But if you're a new dungeon master, don't follow that advice. This is very, very bad advice. It will lead you to pain and suffering. And if you're trying to run an adventure module, you're going to have to change everything in it because you just made your character super powerful. So it's going to make your life difficult if you follow that advice. So it's very, very bad advice. What is your favorite 5e adventure? I don't know. I'm getting into Luke being tired mode. Do you still practice NPC conversations with yourself, and has anyone ever caught you? I do sometimes, not nearly as much as I used to. Sometimes I do though. Has anybody ever caught me practicing an NPC conversation? I don't know. I don't recall exactly. I mean, the thing is I talk to myself all the time though. I'm always talking out loud to myself. I was at work the other day and like one of my teammates, she was like, Luke, do you always talk out loud to yourself? And I'm like, yep. And I'm like, yeah, I noticed because when you were gone that one week, we could tell you weren't here because you weren't talking at your cube and stuff. And I was like, yep, that's what I do. I talk out loud to myself all the time. You have mentioned giving monsters feats. Do you think that giving zombies the unarmed fighting style and the grappler feat is too strong a combination, wanting to make them an actual threat? I don't know. I would try it and see what happens. And then you're going to find out if it's too strong or not. Do an experiment, dude. It's the beauty of monsters and being a dungeon master. Your monsters are going to lose and they're going to die. And you're going to get information from that combat, and that'll give you information that you can use to design future combats and stuff. So the real answer is to try it out. There's little to lose unless you send way too many zombies at them. So I would go with a few of them and see how it goes first. As a dungeon master who gets players to roleplay conversations, like in intimidation and deception checks, instead of rolling a die, if a new player roleplays poorly, should I give a good outcome in order to encourage roleplay? I don't think there is a right or wrong answer to that. If you give them a good result, despite their poor roleplay, to encourage them to roleplay and make them feel better, I'm not going to say you're a bad dungeon master. I am going to say that you might be setting certain expectations that if you shift the way you do things in the future, might lead to them being upset or at least disappointed. You're kind of training them in a way to expect that even though they did something poorly, they will still be successful. And so at some point in the future, when things start to shift because they're no longer new, they might still have those expectations, and then they might be upset or disappointed when their bad game performance no longer results in good results. And so you could be training yourself to have a player with, that sort of problem going on. So that could come back to bite you later. My answer about what I would do is no, I would not do that. I am not going to do that. This is the way the game is. This is how it works. You role played that way and the enemy reacted poorly to that, and these are the consequences. And that's how the game works. It is the world, and I'm role playing the enemies. I'm just because you're a new player and you didn't do it perfectly or something, I am not going to just make it good because I'm having mercy on you or something. No, I am going to give you a feedback loop. You are going to find out what the feedback is. Like, look at people play games in part to be challenged. People enjoy games because of the challenge. Like games that are super, super easy and you just win all the time. Sometimes those games are fun, but usually you get bored with them. We want to be challenged, and we want to have that feedback loop that tells us, did I role play well or did I role play poorly? And if you disrupt that feedback loop and you purposefully give them bad feedback, right? Then how are they going to know to get better at role playing? How are they going to know to improve? Like if they go up to the guards and give some stupid excuse to try to get by, and the guards are like, no, that's ridiculous, get out of here. Well, that tells them, oh crap, lame excuses like that aren't gonna work. I have to get better excuses in the future. I have to have better reasons in the future. They're gonna learn from that. But if they go up and give a crappy excuse and get by anyway, well, they're not learning anything except that, oh, this game is not super realistic and we just can do whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like you'd be disrupting that feedback loop and you'd be taking away the challenge. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give my new players and my old players the same game experience. Now, that doesn't mean I might not give them suggestions. I might let them know, hey, you know, you're gonna go up to these guards and try to come up with a reason to go by. I just wanna let you know that in this game, we try to simulate reality. So make sure that you have a convincing reason that you might try to get by them, because if you don't, they might not buy it. You know, so I'll help them in that sense. I'll make sure that they understand how things work, but I'm not going to give them, you know, like good results based on poor performance. I think that would just be a bad way of going about it for reasons previously stated. So no, I'm not going to do that. Could you use items in a room to combat the spell counterspell? For example, using glyphs that are activating an anti-magic field. I mean, you can, yeah, but that's you. How many times over the course of a campaign can you resort to that sort of thing? You know, like every single time that there's an enemy spellcaster, there are things that just happen to counter the counter spells. You know, like how many times are we gonna have that? You know, now you could say, hey, it's actually realistic because enemy spellcasters know about counter spell, therefore they're going to have measures in place that prevent their spells from being counterspelled. Yes, you could make that argument, but from a gameplay perspective, you know, you're essentially nerfing into the ground one of the character's abilities, which is casting counterspell. Now, I previously made the argument that counterspell ruins the game for the dungeon master and possibly for the players. Sure, but it still stands that if every single spellcaster enemy has a way to just somehow get around counterspell because reasons, then that still is like nerfing one of the things that characters can do. And I don't think that is a good solution either. I think the better solution is going to the root cause, which is counterspell in and of itself takes away the fun of gameplay. And I just don't like it. And I think, yeah, I just wish it didn't exist. I think we could have better combats, more fun combats, and more interesting combats if counterspell were not a thing. That's what my personal opinion is. And I think that's the solution, getting rid of counterspell, not coming up with creative ways to essentially get rid of counterspell. Like every single fight, you know, it should just be gone. And I think the game will be better for it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, one last hoorah plug right here for the Layers and Legends Kickstarter. It is live right now. We have surpassed our 150K stretch goal to unlock premium paper, and I'm super excited about that. You should head on over there. We have a link down in the chat. It is going to give you 2 massive books full of 5th edition adventures, everything compatible 100% with 5th edition D&D, adventures, monsters, magic items, traps, puzzles, encounters, spells, subclasses, adventure ideas, whole bunches of Dungeon Master resources. You can get the hardcover of Into the Fae as an add-on. We have alternate covers as an add-on. Everyone who backs at the Brass Dragon tier or above will automatically get a back catalog of 14 adventures thrown in on top of your pledge. We're really trying to give people as much value as we can. It's probably enough content for you to run games with for at least a year or more. So it's going to give you tons of stuff, help reduce your prep time, hopefully, maybe improve your games. you know, so go check that out. It's doing great. I'm super pleased with how it's doing right now. I would love to unlock more stretch goals and just kill those things even more, because more stretch goals means more content for people, more wonderful artwork that we're going to be able to commission. So go check that out. It's very beautiful. And yes, it is my Kickstarter, so I'm required to say that. It's like, who runs a Kickstarter and is like, yeah, my Kickstarter sucks? Nobody says that. Nobody says that. If somebody does, I'd like to see it, because that would just be amazing. Okay, we're gonna do our giveaway. If you have not signed up for the giveaway, you have like a couple seconds. Go to the giveaway, win a D&D book of your choice or store credit on the DM Lair store. And I'm gonna draw the winner in just a moment. Please go out and do that. Oh, did we just break 155? Really? How are we doing? Let's go over. While you're signing up for the giveaway, we're gonna go over here and just kind of see how it's doing. Where were we? Ooh, yep, we just broke 155. Excellent. Is that the most recent? Let's just update this. Yep, nice, awesome. So doing pretty well. I'm very happy. It's already done. It hasn't doubled into the Fae quite yet, but we're on a pretty good trajectory. I think it's gonna probably be twice as much as like Into the Fae brought in. So that's very cool. I love that. Love that. All right, you guys ready for the giveaway? Are you ready to do the giveaway? Some people are like, Luke, no! Luke, I need 10 more seconds! 10 more seconds, Luke! All right, I'm doing the giveaway. I have to find it. Here we go. We're drawing the winners. Drawing the winners. Well, one winner. Sorry. Thank you for deleting that. All right, let me see. Uh-oh, what did I click? Did I click the wrong thing? Well, I don't think so. All right, I don't know how to pronounce your YouTube screen name, but your first name is Jesse, and your YouTube screen name is Paraluson or something like that. But anyway, if you're here, you won. You won, good sir. Congratulations. I will send you an email with information you need to get hooked up with your D&D book or DM Lair store credit. So congratulations, dude. All right. Yeah, sorry, Jack. Just keep coming to the live streams, keep entering the giveaways. We literally do a giveaway every single live stream. I love giving you guys crap. So come to the next one, you might get lucky. Who knows? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am gonna go to bed. I will see you next week sometime, probably. It's been awesome hanging out. I appreciate the company. I enjoy hanging out with folks and seeing all of your lovely faces or your screen names and stuff. But I'm exhausted right now, so I'm gonna go to bed. Going to bed, and we're ending the stream. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much. It's time to go bye-bye. Bye-bye.